Hello and welcome to Gloves Off number 13, Hitchhiker's Guide to Commentary. I'm your host, Chris ZX, here with my co-host, Koopa.
To infinity and your mom.
And Koopa, we have a couple guests today, and these are some friends of yours, so I'm going to let you do the honors.
Yeah, so to my presumed left or right, can't really tell. I'm in my home right now, lifting up the curtain a bit. Returning guest, HazMatt from New England.
Gotta say, I'm a little offended that Chris goes, these are your friends, Koopa. Like, he kind of just shoved us onto your plate. I'm like, Chris, you know what? I'd say we're friends, you know what I mean? Like, that's the word I would use. But you know what? If you're not there, that's okay.
Friends?
I'm saying. Yeah.
We can be friends.
All right,
This got weird. And
I'll take it.
yes, and moving on, new guest to the podcast, the man with the only commentator known to man with sideburns. Actually, now that I think about it, it's Jdawg. So what's up, man?
Hey, pleasure to be here, man. Happy, I'm kind of frazzled because I just got off work, drove all the way here, but it's good. I'm happy to be here.
Well, glad to have you, man. I was actually really looking forward to having you on for a lot of reasons, but I don't want to jump ahead. But yeah, so I know Koopa knows you guys firsthand, essentially, is why I made the friend comment, because I know he's commentated with both of you guys. Even when we were talking about guests this week, you both came very highly recommended, and I really like the selection in general. HazMatt, obviously, because he's awesome, and we've seen him on so many different top eights. Even I have. We've seen him on Collision. He's been overclocked. Just basically anything in Tristate you could imagine, we've seen HazMatt, which is really kind of cool to see that happen with the consistency. And then Jdawg comes from Xanadu, which is definitely the most well-known with VG Bootcamp stream around. So we kind of have a different, a varying scope of not just experience, but just overall exposure and just levels of everything. So I was pretty happy when Koopa brought you guys up.
And all different levels of facial hair. Now that I think about
Yeah, dude, I gotta say that the chops are extremely impressive.
I can't control them. I shave them, they grow back.
It's the next morning.
It's like,
dude, there's a Fairly Odd Parents episode about that. Now that I think about it.
Really?
Timmy Turner's facial hair just keeps on growing.
Dude, it's
his...
it's a classic scenario, man. Remember the movie The Santa Claus? Tim Allen trying to shave, and then 2 seconds later, all the facial hair comes back. So he's just he's getting exposed every second.
Underrated line from that movie, real quick, is when he goes to the doctor, and the doctor goes, he pokes him in the stomach and goes, "And you should diet." Do you remember that?
Dude, yeah, because I remember because his stomach made that awful noise, that stock noise where it's like.
Oh, the noise out all through flubber, the entire.
Yes.
Someone heard that line and was like, "Let's make a whole movie out of that."
Who do you think Tim Allen would play in Smash?
Snake.
He'd probably play. I think he'd definitely
Samus.
My vote's for Bowser. I'd say a Star Fox character.
Star Fox? Actually, he'd make a great Falco.
Because he can't fly. It's perfect. It's fitting.
Wow, yeah. It's a good connection there.
Who was the Smash character that could only see the top third of his neighbor's head? Good.
I think you're referring. That was good.
Oh man, we're off to a great start.
I'd say so. But all right, if we want to get to actual content, what do you got in mind, Koopa? Because I know this could range anywhere between how to essentially insert yourself if you're interested into commentary, into your local commentary, or basically what makes for good commentary, or levels of what do you got in mind?
Well, a question that I get asked super frequently, whenever I go somewhere, or whenever I'm sitting in traffic on Route 3 trying to go to the city, and I'll do an AMA, and then people ask me, oh, how do I get into commentary? What are some good ways to get started? What advice do you have to get started, just to jump into the scene? And I figured since we're 24 days out from Ultimate coming out or something like that.
Something along those lines. It's close.
I think,
yeah, it's fucking crazy how fast time flies. But yeah, considering we're getting into a new game, and now that I've been around the scene for a bit, kind of to see how the landscape has changed. Just not even just like at the national level, but like just trickling down. Trickle down esports. Because when I got started, because I'm a fairly new commentator, I know Jdawg's played Brawl. I don't know how much commentary you did back then.
Next to none.
Yeah, and I know HazMatt's been around for a bit too. So, when I got started, it wasn't very common to find nowadays where I go to a tournament, there's a 99% chance that the local has a stream, whether it's a laptop and a couple of Turtle Beach headsets, or what we do at MHG, or we have legitimate production equipment. That there's more avenues than ever to get started in commentary. And I feel like we have a good mix of people here that, that have kind of walked the walk and have come up a bunch of different ways. Because I know Jdawg originally, like you said, you started more as a player, and then you went from a player that would go to the weeklies and to essentially becoming the guy in your region for the most part.
It's crazy how that happened, but yeah, that's pretty much how it went.
Yeah, so and I have a similar story too, because I kind of got breeded in with a bunch of the Brawl casters, Pierce is super, is a friend of mine, and Gunblade is a friend of mine that had a really good voice in my corner, and Max in that too, and I figured I'd start with Jdawg just because your story is interesting. So just what is just your story in the scene, because I know not everybody's going to be super familiar with you, even though that they should. So why don't you talk a little bit about where your humble beginnings as a Smash player?
Well, my humble beginnings as a Smash player, it depends. If you're talking about competitive, it started in Brawl, but actually even way back, we were starting to run tournaments in my parents' basement for Smash 64. We were 6 years old, got all the kids on the block, and we played for candy. First place got 3 Snickers bars, so I was in there. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was kind of in my blood after a certain point, but my real competitive career kind of started in Brawl. I was a Wi-Fi warrior back then that just kind of kept on showing up to Wi-Fi brackets, even though the Wi-Fi, I don't know if the kids listen to this know this, but the Wi-Fi in Brawl was absolute trash. I would say it's my favorite turn-based RPG, because that's pretty much how
it was unplayable. It was unplayable. I remember when it first came out, and I was so excited to be able to play just Smash Bros with anyone, because no one played locally, and then I experienced the online. It was pretty bad.
It's crazy because right before they shut down the Brawl servers, or just the Wii servers in general, just for shits, I was just you know what? Let me just try, and I was able to get connected. And the first 3 or 4 games I played were almost perfect. I'm just wow, did they actually invest in some towers hours before this thing dies? And then I think eventually, Mother Nature caught up with me, and I played the best picture show of my entire life. And if you played Wi-Fi in Brawl, then you not only qualify for the veterans discount, but you probably should seek some sort of therapy.
Yeah, my back hurts. I'm old as hell. It was a struggle, but we made it work back then. But yeah, it kind of started back in Brawl. I was entering Wi-Fi tournaments and everything, and eventually, I'm showing my age here again, I went on Smash boards and started poking around the regional list, and I'm pretty sure MDVA was called Atlantic North or something like that. And so I started poking around for tournaments around there, and I was still pretty young at the time, 16. But I found a Brawl tournament that was in my area. I finally met some of the people that I was talking to every day after school. And then after that, I kind of took a long break, because by the time I was old enough to drive anywhere, Brawl died out. But when Smash 4 happened, I went to every weekly for the first almost every weekly for the first 2.5 years. And yeah, it's pretty much history from there.
Yeah, so, you tortured yourself with the worst character in the game, to my knowledge.
Listen, I have one soapbox set out already. I can take another one out if you wanted to hear about my UV woes, but that's a whole other podcast. I don't know if I want to hear that.
So
that's a lot of soap.
So my question is, I heard you mention Atlantic North. So that was essentially the region when you started in Brawl competitively?
Well, kind of, because Smash Boards, they had weird distinctions on where like the regions were. MDVA was pretty much always MDVA since like the Melee days. So like I was always a part of that. But in Brawl, it was weird. People used to drive everywhere, so they probably just lumped it all together. So Atlantic North, y'all are willing to drive 5 hours. This tournament come through.
Yeah, that's kind of like the
Yeah.
weird discussion we have like every couple of weeks on the podcast. How just like awkward the regional map is for Smash.
Makes no
Like
It comes up all the time.
yeah, because
I'm always
yeah,
talking
'cause,
shit,
like-
right, Koopa?
oh, maps. Oh yeah, this is your soapbox. This soapbox is like we're talking Irish Spring. This is some fine soap we're standing on right now. But like because Smash Tri-State is New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania, but Business Tri-State is New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. But now for Smash terms, Connecticut is like lumped into New England.
Right.
But, like it's just I don't fucking know, man. Whoever this is like worse than like the Founding Fathers maps. Like it's bad.
Yeah.
I feel like because it's drawn with like crayon, so it's. I'm sorry. No, but in all seriousness, like I just like the discussion a lot because I feel like it's very able to change. Like it can be adjusted to something that actually makes sense, and like while I might not be able to say what that is, I feel like it could be easily discussed now since like there are established. There are established like functioning entities in each region to like represent themselves.
Speak for yourself. we're barely functioning.
You know what?
Yeah,
that's
that
a
was
great
that was a
point.
strong statement. Yeah.
So, in either case, we're digressing a little bit, but like, yeah, I personally like that discussion and don't shy away from it. But
Yeah, there's a lot to be said there, I think.
Yeah,
always
so
improve, man. Always work on stuff and improve and do better. So, and I think we have honestly. Obviously, I think we've done better.
oh,
since-
dude, since
Dude,
I've
yeah.
started, it's night and day, and that's why I was so curious about the Atlantic North, and not even night and day because it's like, oh, like I've. Like with MHG, we started tournaments because like there was obviously always tournaments in New Jersey, so it's not like that. But I think mostly what got started was like an organized push to like try and schedule things around each other, because like things when I started were basically just competing with one another. Like I would see tournaments in the same town with organizers that knew each other, but would run a tournament despite the other one like at a similar time. So it's like that's like what I walked into, and basically it's just not that anymore. And that's when Koopa said barely functioning. I really think about it, but like that's kind of it. Like,
yeah.
if anything, like people just kind of respect it more, but like it still gets a little funky. But
I think I guess it just kind of depends on the region you come from, because like when you hail from a region that houses the best, like the premier Smash 4 local and like one of the premier Smash streams in general, I feel like very rarely do people step on your toes. Like when I watch, like I remember because me and Haz have talked about this before, but like our Tuesdays would just be going home to watch Xanadu, like whether it be whatever they're streaming and all that stuff. And very rarely, now more than ever, do I see like more streams like popping up in the MDVA area.
Mhm.
Like I know you guys have that Friday tournament at the new Xanadu that's not streamed by VGBC.
Yeah, the grind. It's streamed by JTS. Just trying to smash.
that's cool.
Nice.
I was unaware of that. That sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah. And I gotta say, like, it's like Xanadu has like such a prestige to it that I'm trying to remember the first time I went. I think I went. Oh God, when was it? It was like I was on spring break, and me and my friends were just like, "Yo, y'all just want to go to Xanadu for fucks?" And I'm just like, "Yeah." And I went, and I wasn't expecting it to be where it was. I think that's something that probably Jdawg gets a lot. Like that old venue. I was just like, am I in the right place?
So sketch.
Dude, it was, yeah, it's in like the back like business complexes of a shipping yard.
Yeah,
And
in Baltimore. So
Yeah, it was rough, but oh my God. But like, yeah, just like just the homegrownness of the scene. Like it felt very grassroots, but also still had the professionalism to it. Like I'd never been to a tournament because it was at this time you guys had like the backdrop with the logo on it, and like so it wasn't just the commentary couch and emptiness behind you. And then I saw the soda machine, and then my life was changed forever. Obviously, but
Hey, I love that commentary couch with nothing behind it, man. A lot of good viewing memories with that one.
Yeah, watching Chillin play Project M in his work clothes. Like that was
Watch
my
Chew
shit.
grab the ledge for 3 hours.
Oh my
I miss
god.
those days. Dude.
That's actually the coolest part I would say about VG Boot Camp, especially because like you guys could link specific moments of your life to like just getting into Smash and just having a regular place to
Yeah.
like ingest that sort of like desire to watch it. Which kind of leads to what could be a good topic is like as commentators and casters yourselves, you kind of have a unique position to really like inject yourself into that, where people like become familiar with you and you become somewhat of an influence yourself within like the things happening at your locals. Like I could speak mostly for Koopa because like fortunately he's at all of the tournaments, all of the MHE tournaments, and usually
You're my
carrying the
boss.
commentary. So it's like it kind of works out, and I've seen it kind of develop. Like he's worked with other commentators. I've noticed like the overall quality of commentary has increased a lot on the Master Hand stream, mostly because it's actively being worked on. But like you guys as commentators, like I feel like that's kind of motivating when you really think about being an influence on like an up and coming generation of players.
Yeah, like like you said, like I can speak for us. Like I think that all just because having good people to learn from. Like obviously, Gunblade and Pierce, like were so established and like carried such a big title for themselves in Brawl. Then they kind of really gravitated to me, and they just kind of saw something in me that like made me want to get better, if that makes sense. Because like I when I went into like I'm a doc kid. I'm just gonna admit this right now. I'm sorry, fans at home, if I disappointed you. But like I went into this. I'm just like, oh, commentary would be cool, but I'm gonna be like the best duck hunt player in the world. That's my goal, and then obviously that just never panned out. Fortunately,
That worked out yeah, that's what we all know you for now.
Yeah, it's money match me is what I would say.
Dude, I'll
But,
duck
like-
ditto you all day, dude. You know that.
Please don't.
That doesn't even sound fun.
It's terrible, but I'll do it.
I would rather drink bleach
God.
or something else. Yeah, but like it was weird because I didn't think I would be. It's just strange because like the weirdest part for me was going from seeing these people on my computer screen to them like pooping in my house. If that makes sense.
No, exactly, and that's
Like
I guess
it's just so jarring to me. Like still to this day. Like I mean, I've been around for years now, but like I think that first like big major I commentated at was when like I kind of like felt myself. I'm just like, yo, just don't look like a fucking moron, and these people will think you're cool. Just fake it till you make it. And like I know, I can't speak for Matt because I don't know what the commentary situation was like in New England before you started coming around. Because you're still like, I don't. You're still like relatively green because like I didn't. When did we meet each other? It was like what, a year ago, 2 years ago? I don't remember.
First of all, how dare you? Don't
I
pretend
gotta-
like you don't remember when we met.
We met at Collision.
Good job.
Or was it Qatar? It was at a Qatar.
It was a Qatar, yeah. It was the
Yeah.
quote unquote the last Qatar.
was
Right. So it was right.
wait, remind me which one that was. Which was the last Qatar, but like not the last Qatar. Was that the one in the that was it's still in the office building, correct?
No, that was the one
gym.
in the gym.
Okay, this is the okay.
That's the one that Temper TMPR, the New England TO actually stepped up and helped run. So that was a big one for him and for myself actually, because I met you, Koopa, and kind of a big thing with commentary is like we have actually a good list of questions that we got from a couple of different users on Twitter that we'll be going over, but there's a couple of reoccurring theme between my answers to those questions and what I'm saying now. But like a big thing in commentary and like in being not just commentary but like professionalism in general is being easy to work with or being good and fun to work with. And I think that really shines through and translates well to commentary as well. Not only like being easy to work with, being a good co-caster, supporting what your co-caster is saying and what they're doing, but also just being there and being available and being ready to help out other people and being like just kind and fun really actually goes a long way. Because if you're easy to work with, so like if you're easy to work with and you do a good job at commentary, there's like a 99% chance that someone will want to work with you again and put in a good word for you. And
Yep.
word goes a really long way when you're trying to grind out some commentary. It's like I don't know. I think you guys could back me here, especially Jdawgs. You know, you've been on the Brawl Wi-Fi grind and also Smash 4 grind. As you know, a hard grind when you see one, but it's a grind, man. And it's in getting out there and getting your name out there in commentaries. A lot of it is kind of like right place, right time, but it's also making the most of your opportunities and making good, strong connections with other good people who then say, hey, you know, this person's cool. They're a good commentator. I really like working with them. Can we make that happen? Because if you're like, I don't know, kind of miserable or jaded or negative, like a lot of people can sense that stuff, you know?
Oh yeah.
Or if you're desperate, or if you're like, you know, kind of kiss ass or anything, like people can catch on to that stuff, man. Like they're, you know, they're not stupid. Like, so people
just be real.
Yeah, exactly. Being real. And if being real doesn't work out, then you got to work on your personality. So that's how that one works.
That's a really
try
good
playing
point.
Fortnite.
Yeah.
Well, you just dance it off in Fortnite now. Yeah. You could actually yeah.
So I don't know. So you were kind of asking about the New England commentary scene. You're like, I don't really know what it was, and I think that's a pretty fair representation of what we had going on. I don't really think, as far as New England commentators went up to, I can't really say. You know, I have a lot of peers that I really like, but there wasn't like a Pierce or a Gunblade or a TK Breezy or an EE per se, you know, in New England to show me the ropes. So I guess my path to coming up was a little different than what you guys had, because I didn't have, you know, someone or a couple people in my region that specifically had already been there, were real veterans and had, you know, tasted incredible amounts of success, you know, from commentary. So a lot of it I learned just by watching, you know, the people in other regions that had found success and what worked for them, and, you know, kind of try to let them influence me, but not so much that I strayed off my own path. You know what I'm saying?
That's
so it's like,
yeah, that's like actually pretty great, and that sort of even makes me think about starting up a stream. Like when I first started, even with MHG, I didn't know anything else. I was just like, this is just something I would like to create and like to see as like a tangible reality, and then I just sort of did it. And what you're saying sounds very similar, and the real benefit and really the only thing you have is watching the established things that exist already and sort of modeling what you're offering off of that.
For sure. It's tough though, you know, in streaming too. I'm sure it's very similar. YouTube, same thing. Commentary, any type of like internet type personality, it's so hard, and you've seen it, you know, happen before, where commentators, they have a lot of success, or they have like a trademark thing they say, or like a specific, I don't know, not just a go-to saying, but maybe a tone or like some sort of thing that starts to become like the meta of what they're doing. So like, I don't know, donkey videos, I feel like that is like a style now. Like before it wasn't a thing before he existed, but now it's a style. Same thing with things in Smash commentary, obviously. Like their tropes or their like themes. I don't know why like Nice Back Air gets so much hate, but Limit on Deck gets nothing. I can't believe it.
I'm guilty. I say that all the time.
Limit on Deck was the coolest thing I ever heard, like the first 3 times I heard it, and now it's everywhere. It's top to bottom. Any weekly I turn into, Cloud gets Limit on Deck. I'm like, oh man, like every single time. I'm like, it's worse than Nice Back Air as far as I'm concerned. At least people know about Nice Back Air. No one's talking about Limit on Deck except for me. I'm talking about a soapbox. There's my I just pulled it out.
Taking notes as to things that might change in Ultimate. When people finally identify Limit on Deck as like a
limit in the hole is when he has it like 3/4 of the way charged. I'm like, I bet most people who use that don't know it's a baseball reference. You know what I mean?
No,
like
absolutely not.
Yeah. We did a whole episode.
I didn't. I was just laughing.
Yeah. Sounded good.
Yeah, go back and watch our sports episodes, guys.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's, oddly enough, that was like one of the episodes that got the most attention was that sports episode. But
I don't understand people at all.
Same.
It's untapped market in this community.
Yeah.
So like, and that's the reality of it too. Is like, as a commentator, your craft is coming from something that is already existent for a long time in things like sportscasts. So like, this is stuff like you have even seen on different forums altogether that like you've seen growing up, like, you know, football games, for example, baseball, etc. Like it fits the same sort of what do you call it? Like the same sort of structure and feel about it. Like, here's something to watch, and then here's people explaining it in layman's terms to make the experience overall a lot better. Because, like, you could watch high-level Smash, but if you don't really know what Smash Brothers is, like, that whole experience is going to be carried by who's telling you the story of what's happening on the screen.
Yeah, that's like personally for me, that's still one of the hardest things for me to like adapt to on the fly, is when like because some of the best advice that I ever heard or received, I think it was from DM Brandon on Twitter somewhere, where he said that you're supposed to depending on where you're commentating, like you don't commentate pools the same way you commentate top 8 of a major, because you're catering to different audiences. Like I wouldn't commentate like an exhibition tournament. Forgive the baby, he doesn't like commentary. But like you wouldn't like if I'm commentating like an invitational, like I think because I know VG does a lot of the invitationals, and I remember Logic, another friend of ours, he said that like he had trouble kind of adjusting his commentary to an audience that doesn't understand Smash terms. So you find yourself explaining like what a back air is, or like what your directional input is, or like where all that stuff. Whereas
you know what a back air is? It's nice.
Nice.
Well, wrap it up,
Nice.
folks.
Sorry.
That's the cast.
That's how the nice back air was formed. Some guys was like, that was nice. Yeah, the first nice back air. That was really nice. Whereas, yeah, but it's like like when you're commentating top 8 of like a regional or a national or just of anything, like the people that are watching 9 times out of 10 probably understand what's going on.
You know what explains this perfectly, and we were just talking about this before we even went live. If you look, if you are watching this and not listening to it in hindsight, you could see on the screen under the main commentary tab on like the menu screen, you could see this picture of HazMatt and Kitara in the background. I'm trying to get the actual picture, but like that's sort of like the example of your surroundings affecting essentially what's coming out of your like commentary and mouth. Like there are stories to tell when you are at a tournament, and whether it be between players or just the overall setting and environment and feeling, like things adjust, and like that essentially does put that on you as a caster to translate that over to a live or even just a viewing audience in general. I actually, Matt, I love this picture of you. I was telling you beforehand.
It's such a good fucking
It's a
picture.
perfect picture, man. Because
Kitara really makes it. The contrast and the responses is just absolutely amazing.
Dude. Because like Kitara's losing his shit, and then you're just kind of sitting there. You're focused. You're honed in. You got the glasses on. Like you're still speaking of what's going on. And I think that is such like a good picture of what happens all the time, really. But like in this particular tournament, what was this? Smash Sounds.
Yes, it was Smash Sounds,
which was wild. I think as I recall you saying.
Yeah, and Chris, I think you really hit the nail on the head there. Like a big thing is like, so as commentators, we're the middle point for the viewers between the action and the venue. You know what I'm saying? So when you're watching a game, like say you're watching Tweak versus Void, and on the screen you have maybe Sheik and Cloud duking it out or whatever, and maybe some player cams, but in order to capture the essence of the tournament or of the story or the full picture that's going on, people need to rely on you to relay that information to them, because they if you're sitting at home watching a tournament, you can't feel what the venue is giving off as a vibe. You can't feel what the competitors are doing, maybe not even see them. Like, so it's really up to the commentators to really paint that picture for people who can't be there. Because every time you go to a major, it's like, man, that was top 8. Like, 99% of people don't make top 8s, but so many people show up on that Sunday to go and watch live and just be a part of the atmosphere. So as commentators, I think that's like, we're kind of the middleman, you know what I mean? For like, hey, you couldn't get to the venue, but I'm going to teach you, and I'm going to show you, and I'm going to, dictate to you what it is like to be in this venue, what it's like here. And I think that's like a big part of our jobs, is to bring that, in-venue experience to the homes.
Yeah, that's like I was mentioning, like sports radio is a thing, and I'm not talking about the highlights. I'm talking about like people driving in their car and listening to, say, like a baseball game as they're driving. Like that's like a real skill, and it is to some degree storytelling. It's there's a lot going on there, and even on a weekly or monthly basis, like Koopa, you're literally doing every MHG monthly there is. Jdawg, you're doing constant Xanadu streams. Like, so to your points earlier, it is like, it's just a different feeling, and it's kind of on you to kind of paint that. So like if Koopa's commentating a Platinum Star event, which is our monthly, like he'll tell you basically the players that you're seeing on the screen, where they're coming from, if we see them normally, how they perform normally, because people don't know that stuff. Like and
what their favorite food is.
yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like the people want to know. So it's like with that in mind, like the commentary becomes even more important than just being able to say like clever or cool things. Like you're actually having to translate some action to words.
Yeah, and that's a really good point that you brought up, because something that's interesting about New Jersey, and I guess to NDVA, at least from someone that's been watching for years, has noticed, is how, like, when the scene changes, you're gonna have to rely on those people that have kind of been around and have kind of risen through the ranks to provide that information. Because like, when I got started in Smash, we still had Tweak and False and Kitaro and the Cat and all these players who were already established and had come up with the Brawl commentators, and then all those guys left, and then the Brawl commentators started not commentating as much, or like the old guard started to shift in with the new guard, and then that's where a guy like me, somebody who had kind of been more grassroots and had been working or had got to know a lot of the players that have gotten good, it's up to me to provide that to the viewers to understand why they're so good now. You know what I mean? Because like, I'll use Xanadu as an example for this too. Like when the first Xanadu set I ever watched, I think was a Boss and Seagull Joe Grand Finals.
Yeah.
Dude, every week, pre-patch Luigi and Sonic, it was my shit. It was God, those characters were fucking stupid. My God,
They were so dumb, but it was vintage Xanadu. Yeah.
Yeah, and they were fun. And then like you see, Joe's a bad example because Joe's withstood the test of times, and like, which is fucking crazy. Because then like now you look and you see guys like when Pink Fresh started getting a lot better. This is probably customs.
Yeah.
Oh God,
That was a dark
God,
day.
dude.
Denover, I still blame you for all of that. That's all your fault, dude.
At least I remember there was like one custom like layout that Gimmer used, and it just did not look good. And I'm just like, what am I looking at right now? Yeah, but anyway,
Tornado, dude. It's been a minute since I've seen that.
I'm having the worst like PTSD right now. I'm like minutes away from an anxiety attack. But
Yeah, I feel actually a little sick.
yeah, no, but like, so it's like it's weird because like you look at how Xanadu's changed now, and then you see players like Joe J is a name that comes to mind because like he did really well at SmashCon and beat Light. Look how I connect NDV to New England. I'm a fucking genius.
Not my favorite connection you've ever made, but okay.
I'm gonna have to ask you about the really good one, but we'll talk about that later.
Go
Yeah,
on.
so it's just like as the scene grows, you have to be able to grow around it with you, because like it's like I said, Jdawg, you went from someone who like because it's hard to find, you had a really hard region to establish yourself in, because like two of the best commentators in the planet, hail from your three of the best.
Yeah.
That's for me. Shout out to Coney. That's my dog.
Mhm.
But like it's hard to really establish yourself in a region that hails the Black Plague and Coney. So like I'm curious because you said you didn't do any commentary in Brawl. So I'm curious, just for the folks at home, like how did you make the transition from player to commentator?
All right, so this story is actually kind of funny because if y'all have never been to Xanadu, people listening, like there was a time where pretty much anyone could walk up to do commentary. Actually, even now, like even with the like setup and like all the lights and everything, anyone can just kind of walk up, and if there's an open seat, sit down, start commentating some matches. Like it's pretty what's it called, like flat structure to it. So my first time doing commentary, I was kind of thrown on it because I was always like on the fence about it. I used to be really nervous before I got on the mic. And so my first time I got on it, I was kind of talking to a friend. I was like, do I want to do it? I don't know. There's probably a lot of people watching. And then like this guy, the player's name was Mick. He just went up to TK. I was like, hey, this guy, or Jdawg wants to commentate here. And he just like pushed me at the setup. And I sat down. I don't even think I got through the whole set. I think like I'm like, I think they're calling me for my match. Bye. Ran away. Because like it's nerve wracking.
That's like you like checked your cell phone and it's like been dead for like 2 hours and you're like, sorry, I got a call, I gotta go, man. Sorry.
Like real talk, that's pretty much how I win. Like I was looking for any excuse to just escape the first time, and then after that, like I kind of went through the day. I was like, hey, I survived. I did it. I do know how to speak into a microphone sometimes. And so next week I try it again, and the week after that I tried it again. And the weird thing about how I got into commentary and how I became like the guy at Xanadu, which still feels weird to say because it doesn't feel real. I just kept on doing it because after a while, and I don't even follow like TK&E for this. You can only say Seagull Joe rose to the ledge and like back throws so many times before you start to get really jaded about the whole process.
No, you can mix it up sometimes with Seagull Joe monkey flips from the ledge.
Exactly. He gives us a bit of flavor, thank God, because otherwise I would have thrown up. But like, yeah, because those guys, they started moving on to bigger and better things. Started getting bigger gigs. They started getting older and having lives and families and moving. So
That's
eventually,
wild.
eventually it's just like I became the guy, and it wasn't by like a lot of concentrated effort through climbing the ladder, because I focused a lot on grinding commentary, but I wasn't too focused on getting big for a long time. But yeah, if you just keep on doing it, good things will come. Is what I'm saying.
Well, that's a really good point. Practice makes perfect with anything, and there's just as much a meta to commentary as there is to actual playing, like for real.
Oh my God! Look at Tweak in this replay.
Yo, I'm shook right now.
Yeah,
Holy
dude,
shit.
false
Oh my
was there
God.
too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was one of my favorite sets to commentate.
John
Who
Number
is that
still
guy?
owns that shirt. I'm pretty sure.
And haircut.
Yeah, probably.
But
Yo, shout out
baby,
to
Tweak.
Cream, man. That's my guy.
We
I
still
fucking
meme on
love
that green
Creek.
battle actually. Yeah, people like we still call him like 8 stock creeks. He took 8 stops in the creek battle where everyone thought like MD was gonna get washed.
Damn. So there's
Or not
8
MD,
stock.
that crew. Yeah.
So there's 8 stock Creed. There's French fry shirt Creed that beat Angel Cortez. That's
Man, myth the legend. I love that dude.
Yeah.
My boy Black Yoshi's playing right now. Hold on. Yeah, everything that kid does is mad entertaining. I don't care. Every
He's a
time,
whole icon.
dude. Every time he posts like even like a 2-second video, I'm like, this kid's hilarious. Every
Yeah, and
time,
he-
dude.
And he's another one of those players like I was talking about, where like the old guard kind of like started, shifting out. He was someone that sort of stepped up, and we had obviously the same thing happen in New Jersey. And I'm really glad that you that you brought up how like you were nervous the first time you commentated, because I don't think like people are always like, oh, commentary is easy, but like y'all don't understand, like it's really fucking scary when you're
We're sweating
commentating
out
on
here.
this. Yeah, like when I was commentating, I'm at the first real tournament I ever commented, or the first big tournament, excuse me, that I commentated at was at a Qatar. It was like one of the first. It was not the first Qatar for Smash 4, the one that ended at like 5 a.m. It was the one after that.
Katara's he's the best TO.
Dude, honestly, like I want to write a book. I want to write a book about this tournament.
Hey,
Oh,
his
right,
events
that
were
sounds
sick.
good.
Everyone had fun at his events though.
No, I've had fun. I've had
I'm
fun
not
at
saying
every
they-
Qatar I've been to.
I'm not saying they ever ended on time, but I'm saying everyone had a good time.
Did you ever go to any of the ones where the bathrooms flooded?
I've only heard stories, man. The one
those-
you met me at was I think the only one I've been to, but I had a blast.
Yeah, that was a fun one. But like, yeah, that was one of the first big ones that I commentated at, and it was streamed by Clash, and like Clash holds such like a reputation around Tristate, and I was
Dude.
like, oh boy, it's like that's scary, and I was just like, oh, I don't mind not commentating, it's fine, and I was like kind of just walking across the venue, and I made eye contact with Gunblade, who was commentating, and he kind of like waved me over, and I did the look around where I looked to either side of me, and then I started pointing at myself, and I saw that there's no, he was talking to me, and I was like, oh shit, is this really happening right now? Like, do I have to poop? Like, like, am I gonna be all right? And then like I commentated for a good portion of it. I was with one of my friends from my local, so like it made it super easy. But then like even scarier than that is like that was the first time I commentated with Gunblade, and I know he doesn't like to commentate with just anybody. So I was just like, oh fuck, don't say fuck or anything stupid, Kyle. Like just make it easy and work it out. And like once you get that out of the way, like it's like riding a bike now. Like I very rarely find myself getting nervous, but like people don't understand, like talking, like public speaking is very, very hard. Like
Facts.
Yeah, I think we talked about this too a little bit, and like getting over that hump is honestly not something that everyone can do, or at least like not without like different degrees. Oh, there you are, Gunblade and Koopa. Classic combo right there.
Dan,
Yep.
I did not. Why do I remind me to shave before every big event that I go to?
Dude, I think this is right around the time you started commentating with us.
I believe you're right. Yes.
Yeah, this is a long time ago.
Yeah, this is Crooked Glasses Koopa era, so it was definitely the beginning.
Great era.
I think the reason I put it there was because you had mentioned kind of being nervous around Gunblade to basically being really close with Gunblade, which I actually think is pretty cool. You know what I mean? As far as just like socializing, leveling up goes, like it's
man.
That's a real thing too, and I think without going too much off on a tangent, it's something that makes like Smash Bros sort of its own little special thing, the way that it sort of operates, because it allows for stuff like that. Everything's very available to you, and I think Koopa, you said this at the beginning of this whole episode, where the craziest realization is seeing the people on the screens and then realizing just how much like you see them in person. You're just like, oh, okay.
I think he said pooping in his house, actually, is what he said.
Dude, my bad, yeah.
Several
poop
top
in
players
your house, you're
pooped in my
right.
house.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Like, I remember one of the it was at SmashCon. It was the one where Nairo made that insane losers run, and I side betted on Nairo to the point where I made like fucking $60. And 8-Bit Man looks at me and he was just like, "Who the hell would side bet on Nairo?" I'm just like, "Bro, he's met my mom. I'm like obligated to side bet on him." like that doesn't happen. Yeah, I was just like,
I was like in the room when you said that.
Yeah, I was just like, "Bro, like you don't understand. I have to do this." But like, yeah, it's just it's strange, and like now it's gotten to the point where like I'm the guy that people see on the screen, and like they come up to me and they're like, "Oh, hey, like I see you on the internet sometimes," and I'm just like, "Stop doing that."
Yeah, man, gotta embrace that.
Yeah, like I can't speak for Jdawg or Haz, but like, do you guys like still get kind of like, does that still like I don't know, like weird you out a little bit? I don't know. I still get kind of like
a little bit, yeah. Like
it's a little jarring.
When people walk up to me, I was like, "Oh, hey, I'm a fan of your commentaries." Like, I exist outside of like my own mind. Like,
looks down at hands.
I just assume like Coney's standing behind me, or someone else, and I'm just like, all right, cool, and just walk away.
Oh my god,
someone else.
that actually like brings me to like a funny story. I've definitely told you guys this before, but I'll tell it again because it's funny. It was at a K-Tar where a kid comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, you're Koopa, right?" And I was like, "Yes." And he was like, "You'd be my favorite commentator if Coney didn't exist." And
Damn,
I told him, I'm like, "That's fine,
man. That's
all
right.
And I told
Exactly. That's a short list, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I told him back. I actually told that story to Coney when I commented with him, and like when I got to that part, the face he made was fucking hilarious because he was just like, "Oh no," but I was like, "Nah, it's cool, man. You're my favorite commentator too." But
yeah, right, dude.
Yeah, man. It was that Frostbite set I commented that block I had with him was like one of some of the most fun I've had outside of being friends with HazMatt. Is that what the title card says? Yeah. Okay. There we go.
All right. We'll go with it. Yeah.
Perfect.
I'm trying to think here because let's see. I wanted to bring up a couple other things, but I feel like a lot of things I want to bring up are kind of connected to the Q&A. And I'm going to let you guys make the choice. I could probably make a killer quick segue just to get some locals in here. There's really only one particular thing I want to talk about, and since we're talking about making local memories and kind of growing up with the stream, Master Hand kind of being in the young stages of its life too, it is pretty cool to even see some players grow in addition to commentators, like from stream to stream. And in particular, what I am going to say, we're going to breeze right through this, by the way. If you're a fan of Local Spotlight, you might be a little disappointed, but we have all the good stuff in here. Really, my main topic this week is Jakal basically flexing on all of New York without dropping a single game at the last Xeno.
Nuts were huge.
Let's go, Jakal.
Crazy.
Like, the craziest part to me about this is, like, I remember Jakal when he used to get, like, really, really tilted at just a regular local. And now I watch him go to a tournament like this, and he basically just, like, looks very confident, looks very poised, and just, like, plays really well. It's something I wanted to bring up because here's the segue. You guys were basically just talking about how, like, you go from, like, poops and nervousness to essentially kind of getting better at your craft and to a point where you're actually good at it. And that, as I mentioned, is its own meta, and you could see it, like, this is what it looks like on a player level. So actually, like I feel like Jdawg, you're like the perfect person to have on for this exact discussion, like because you were like basically involved with VG Bootcamp, them sort of being like the Goliath of Smash Bros. Content, where they weren't as Goliathy, where they were basically kind of homegrown like how we are. So it's like you've seen like this sort of story play out where you have like a really good local person, and like you recognize them because you've seen them at Xanadu's, but then like you start seeing them branch out into other stuff. I mean, I gotta think you have a few players like that. I'm not sure if you have anything about your locals to mention while we're on the topic of locals.
You mean like in terms of like people branching out or just general local stuff?
Either one, really. I mean, at this particular point, I was mostly just like mentioning how Jakal has sort of grown from being like, you know, local child at Smash tournament. Maybe, you know, I even have wins on Jakal in his early tournament history.
Flex.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see what we're doing.
Kind of a
cool.
weird flex, but you know,
Yeah.
in either case, I have beaten a 15-year-old kid at Smash 4. Yes.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Thank you. So
And
like
a similar thing did happen in MDVA. Because ZD, funny story actually. So right now, ZD, he started playing the game like when he was 14 or 15. Like played Luigi casually, you know, went like 1 and 2 first couple Xanadus. Now after this Tuesday, today's Wednesday, right? So yeah, a day ago he tied the record for most Smash 4 Xanadus won with Pink Fresh and Wadi. So right now it's a 3-way tie with 3 more Xanadus left. I want to see them come through and like duke it out, but you know, at the moment he went from, you know, this average kid to one of the best players in the region.
that's actually pretty awesome because you see him all over the place now.
Yeah, 2 things. One, I forget that ZD is still a fucking child. That like it's obscene to me because he's a big boy, like just height wise. Because him and Joe roomed with me at Frostbite, and I'm just like you know, Joe's a teacher. He's an established adult at this point, and ZD's just like, yeah, I'm still in high school, and I play Fox. So I'm just like, oh, so you like
hit early in like a truck. Like...
Yo, for real. And like, I remember I first heard of ZD when when C3PO was like he like gate kept him from winning his first Xanadu, which like is like one of my favorite recurring like memes from the MDVA. I like C3PO just never won a Xanadu.
Poor guy.
That's my guy. I love that guy.
He's so cool.
Yeah, he's got such a cool accent. You ever talk to him? He's like mad British. It's fucking great.
I miss him.
Yeah, but like, I was gonna bring up ZD, and like it's like I said, because I don't know. Wadi's another good example because like he went from being a Wi-Fi warrior to being, you know, a top 20 player in the world who also, you know, has the fiance power up on top of that.
It's
like imagine being good at a video game and having a girlfriend. That's wild.
Yeah, man, it's odd. It's really not that common. It's not even like your flex. Yeah, like it is because I'm just thinking back to that moment when Odyssey brought his girlfriend to that Stock Advantage tournament, and she was
he bodied us.
He literally just like ripped through everyone, including like Angel and like everyone there. And I was just like, that's pretty cool, dude.
He even mentioned it in the victory tweet. He's just like, I just savagely won this local with my girlfriend watching me.
Yeah, like that's.
And I'm
cool.
just like, all right. It's like, all right, man, you got it.
It's like, actually just walking and flexing on everyone.
Yeah, it's like nice, like good job.
And he's another example of a kid that's like 16 and looks like he should be like 26. It's fucking crazy.
Ooh,
yeah,
I have a great segue off of that point. Can I talk about Light for a second?
I knew you were gonna bring it up, and I was hoping if you didn't, I was gonna prompt you. So yes, please.
Can we find that picture of Paris holding the paddle ball, just like staring at it in his face?
He looks 30. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I thought he was like really fucking old when I met him.
Like the mid-20s at least. Yeah.
He like low key kind of looks like Kenny Powers from Eastbound and Down.
Jesus, that is definitely the first time I've heard that one.
I think it's just like something in like his eye expressions and like his hair. That's like kind of it. I don't know how to like explain it.
I was thinking his facial hair too, kind of.
Something. I don't know what it is. Like he doesn't necessarily look like. What's the actor's name? I can't. Whatever. Like he doesn't necessarily look like him, but like there's something there that makes me think of it. I'm looking.
Danny McBride.
Thank you. Yeah, it is Danny McBride.
Oh my God.
Hold up. Like so. Like yeah. There's Danny McBride. You'll see it in a second. Yeah, I will. Let me get a separate tab here. And then there's Light. But like,
I can't believe Light was in Pineapple Express. That's crazy.
But I didn't mean to
dude.
Has
dude.
like all this good shit to say, and I totally derailed it by this. But
No, this is amazing. Yeah, I only had good shit to say. You have great shit apparently.
Here we go. All right, I fucking got it. I got it. Hold up. Let me just shrink the screen here. All right, there it is. There's something. It's
you know, it might be the eyebrows.
Yeah,
dude.
Yo,
Some
it might be the eyebrows. I'll be honest with you.
it's just like a little bit unmanaged hair, the facial hair.
Yeah,
Like
the facial hair. I'm telling you, the facial hair is a big part of it.
Either way, man, Light is he's a beast because he's come
He's so
here
good.
and he's wrestled like James, for example, has had his reign of terror here for years where he just literally won everything. He would win all the regionals, and then like Light started to like show up and pop around. Like, where did he even come from locally? Because like I guess I haven't seen a ton of like New England streams to start, but like he's made a name. No question.
Well, the thing too is that he was in Connecticut too, and they never really had a big weekly stream. Like they had a weekly stream, but it didn't have great like sound quality or like commentators who were committed. So it never really took off. But Connecticut is low key one of the best states in New England. Like I would probably call them the second strongest state. I mean, I guess you can make an argument for the strongest too, but I still think Massachusetts takes it. Maybe a little bit of hometown bias, but either way,
I mean, it's understandable. You have the arguments to stand on, like in a few instances.
You got exactly. Mars.
You got a World Series. It's fine.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. So I hate that though. Never mind. We're not gonna get. I'm from New York, dude. I'm not happy about that. But so Light, like, and it's interesting because we're talking about the commentary grind and everything. I think becoming a better commentator is a lot like becoming a better player. Hear me out. So like Light, he shows up. He's this goofy kid. He's like, I'm gonna be the best. He's always talking about how he's gonna be the best and how he's always gonna win. He likes Naruto and like all that stuff. So we're like, okay, all right, yeah, sure, you got it, buddy. You got it.
The video of him Naruto running is amazing, but keep going.
My God, dude.
I love that one.
So he was all talk and he was all bravado and full of confidence, a little cocky, even though like he wasn't winning everything. So like your first goal as a player is to be best in your immediate region, whether that's like your state or your county or whatever that means. For him, it was state. So he wanted to be the best player in Connecticut. And to do that, he had to beat Ling Ling consistently, if you know who that is. A very good Peach player, Brawl veteran, absolutely amazing. Among other players like Koga Rasuma, who's a very good Lucina player, Chavo, a good Bayonetta. Like he had a lot of obstacles in his way. But eventually, like he starts taking names. And eventually, he's not just taking them like 50-50. Soon he pulls in the lead 70-30. And then eventually it's like, man, I can't remember the last time Ling Ling took a set off a Light. It's been so long. You know what I mean? And Ling Ling was considered like one of the original mob bosses of New England, like one of the top 5 like original PR members. So Light started having, beating Ling Ling. We're like, all right, you beat Ling Ling, but he's a Peach. You could just learn the matchup and you're Fox. You could kind of obliterate him. So whatever. We're not that impressed. He shows up to a monthly, and this is when I was on the New England PR, and he showed up and he won the monthly over Mars, who was number 1, and like that was one of his best seasons. That was around the Civil War time. So he beat Mars, he won the monthly, and he beat 9 out of 10 New England PR players. 9 out of 10 in one tournament. He ran through everybody. So we're like, all right, this kid's pretty good, all right, he's pretty good. So now he's like, it's not even my goal to be best in Connecticut. It's my goal to be best in New England. And then it's my goal to be the best in the world. Like that's what he said. I don't know if you remember his platform for. Oh man, you got Ling Ling versus Light on right now. It's nuts. And me and Koopa. This is great.
Yeah, dude.
I forgot he went Kirby in the set. This is really funny.
It comes full circle.
He actually did pretty well with Kirby, which I don't know, man. Anyway, so Light, he's always had this determination, and this is how I'm gonna link it back to commentaries. Like you have to prove it at different levels. Like you can't just be, all right, I'm doing top 8 in majors. That's how it's gonna go. I'm a sick commentator. It's like, all right, even if you're right, you got to prove it at different levels first. You know what I mean? So you gotta be the best commentator in your immediate level. And I mean, obviously best, commentary, it's a lot of, opinion based, and like best doesn't necessarily mean like there's no facts behind it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, you just gotta kind of make a name for yourself or do well enough to gain, support from your region and be like, hey, I'm worth investing in. I'm worth, going into other places, and you guys, hopefully have my back, just like you would a top player. Like how many people in New England would die for, Light or Mars or Kool-Aid or Pug or any of those guys that are so amazing. They love watching them do big things on stream. Oh, Link he should have taken that stock.
Yeah, I'm watching it too.
I'm way into it. He should take this. Yeah. Oh, look, magnet hands.
It's like we were there. We'll be seeing you.
Yeah, we'll be seeing you. So it's kind of like you need to like earn the respect of your region as a player and as a commentator first. And on your way there, my region gave me so much feedback on the way to like becoming a better commentator. Like, I mean, it can't all be, sunshine and like hugs and kisses. Like, people got to lay down the law with you and like give you good feedback. Like, hey man, you really don't know this matchup and it showed really hard. Let me teach you a thing or two. That happened to me like one of the first times I got in commentary. Like, dude, you have no idea what you're talking about with, I think it was Little Mac. It's like, you have no idea what you're talking about. I'm like, you're absolutely right. I don't. And I was like, please, I said, please teach me. I was like, do this. And they wrote out like so many paragraphs about Little Mac that I pretended to read and then said, thanks so much. And then never I actually read the whole thing and rewatched my set and agreed with them at some parts. And other parts, I was like, hey, I think you're kind of being unfair here. This criticism isn't as good. So from there, it's like, you got to take the feedback from your immediate region and then say, hey, I think I've gotten better enough to the point where I should start applying to bigger and better things and kind of keep climbing the ladder from there, man.
Yeah, man. And VOD review is so important, and it's cool to hear that there's that application for commentators too. But Koopa, go on.
Yeah, I was just gonna echo a lot of those sentiments because like when you get established to like the point that like you're a top level commentator, even where you're at like where me, Haz, and Jdawg are at, where like we're notable and you've seen us on a big stream before, but like we obviously can't get to everything because we're humans. But like when you get to a certain point, it's really it's not only expensive, but it's also hard to like get criticism, if that makes sense. Like when I get kind of sad sometimes when I look at like the feedback thread in for a major tournament and like I just get no comments on it, and I'm just like, obviously like no news is good news in my realm, but like I also don't like the feeling of being stagnant. Like I don't like to feel like I'm not improving on something. And like some of the best advice I got was like from Gunblade, where like it was after like a Qatar I did top 8 at, and I saw him like the next week at a local, and he sits me down. He's like, hey, listen, like I've been talking to some people around me, and they were saying like you got to start stepping it up. You're too much fluff. I need you to have a little bit more content, like a little bit more something more to chew on your voice, because basically he was telling me I'm too funny. I need to be taken a little bit more seriously. And I was like, I bet. So then like I started cracking less jokes, and I started obviously like applying myself more, like learning the frame data, learning what does what, where what characters like to go to this stage or whatever and stuff like that. So like that sort of feedback is important. And like obviously like you never want to have the feeling that like you're getting stagnant or like you're not improving, which if that makes any sense. So
definitely makes sense. And something you just made me think of, hold on, I'm trying to find the VOD right now, is that sort of does apply beyond Smash Bros. Because not that long ago I remember you commentating a Rivals of Aether tournament.
Yeah.
To where like you kind of knew like nothing, Like
I still know nothing. That game's fucking weird.
But you hung in there pretty good. Like it was engaging commentary, and dare I say it was better than I guess like some of the commentary where the people did know what they were talking about. So like knowing what you're talking about doesn't always translate. Things like jokes and personality still go a long way. Because it does. It's basically just knowing, to put it plainly, like how to socialize and like carry a conversation, because you're not always going to know the things happening on screen, and that's all part of growing, is I guess being comfortable with that feeling of not always knowing.
Is this a recent tournament, by the way?
Yes. About a month and a half ago.
Dude, you look good.
Thanks,
I gotta say.
man. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I was just gonna say, this is the first VOD you've used all day of not fat Koopa. So I
was getting this.
Thank God.
Well, I was thinking about it because I was like, you could even follow your progress on this stream in general, because like quite honestly, man, like I've even seen just like an overall improvement in just like even your confidence, like not even just commentary, but like person. I'm starting to feel like a little bit like a dad saying that, but like it's sort of true. Like there's a lot of development that does happen on this kind of stuff.
Yeah, dude, I can wear pants again. It's great.
That's actually something I want to chime in on, because my story is a little bit weird, because when you were talking about feedback, and I do agree, feedback is 100% important, but like at least coming from MDVA, there was a point where I didn't get much feedback. Maybe it's because of like how I conduct myself or how I like end up studying the game, but it was one of the weirdest things where like it was before I was really established, but no one was really giving me feedback, and I asked like crazy. Actually, on my Twitter, I think my pinned tweet for at least a year was, "Hey, if y'all have any feedback, please give me any." I think I got 5 tweets in a year. Yeah, and I was like, kind of in my own head, like, am I doing something wrong? What am I doing? Like, but it kind of goes back to the just keep at it, keep doing it. Sometimes no feedback is good feedback, but keep asking for feedback. It's about asking and being receptive to it. That's really important. Anyway,
Yep.
bit of sidebar.
Well, feedback too keeps you in check because like there's been points where I'll start getting good feedback and not a lot of negative, and I'll really start feeling myself to the point where I feel myself too much and kind of fall into these bad habits that I have, or say a particular phrase too many times on one stream because I think it's funny and cool. And
to be clear, it is funny and cool and like and very clever. Just but like yeah, I mean it is easy to fall in habits.
I just got excited.
You're the destruction guy, right?
I had to. Yeah, that's me.
Oh yeah.
The first, the legendary destruction call that the first time ever, the true one, the Nairo sound effect, the destruction. You guys know the clip, right?
Yes.
Dude, it's a New England venue actually, Game Underground. They're still kicking, so that's actually I think the first place I ever did commentary, and I didn't know that until like semi recently that clip was from Game Underground, so it was kind of cool.
Sick.
Yeah. Legendary.
No, you're
but anyway.
But
yeah, sorry. As I was saying, yeah, you can't. Good or bad, you need to keep yourself in check. Like if you go out there and you blow it and you have a bad commentary set, it's just like playing. Like if you're a player who goes to weeklies and you expect yourself to win the tournament or finish top 3 at worst, and you finish like maybe 9th or whatever, it's a bad day, but it doesn't mean you're a shitty player. Like it just means you had an off day, or you just got to watch your VODs and fix what you did wrong. And you just got to do the same thing with commentary. If you're like, man, everyone's kind of hating on me after that commentary, is what they're saying valid? And I think a big thing here, I've talked to Koopa about this a little bit too, is having a good support system and like people who like they're on your side, but not so much that they won't be real with you, that they won't tell you like, hey man, actually your commentary really did suck. Like you leaned too much on this saying, or you said this too much, or you should have jumped in here and you didn't, or you kept interrupting your co-commentator. So you need people who will give you real constructive criticism, but they're on your team, because you get like these people on social media.
Don't read the comment section.
Well, honestly, I do, and sometimes I'll even like engage, which I don't really.
You're nuts.
Yeah, I know. Well, because I want to see if what they're saying is valid, and if I'll go back and watch a VOD, and I have enough sense of self and enough sense of like what's good and what's bad, where if they say, hey, you said that this, and that was dumb and bad, I'll go back and watch the VOD, and I'll either be like, yep, that's true, like I definitely shouldn't have done that, thanks, good advice, unless they're being a dickhead about it, in which I won't say anything. I'll just like okay, lesson learned. Or if they say something and they're wrong, then move on from there. They're just kind of hating.
Yeah.
I was gonna say some of the best advice I actually ever got was from Twitch chat. It was like when I started commentating for the first time, and I was at like a local in like a New Jersey Stop and Shop that averaged maybe like 6 viewers a night. And this one guy says like, hey, you're a good commentator, but like you need to remember to breathe. You're talking too fast. And I was like, oh yeah, it sounds a lot better when I'm not, gasping for air. So like there is like gold to be found in like, the shit that is Twitch chat, but like I can, transition that into a negative experience I had once when, not me, but it was at funny how it always comes back to Qatar. But there's a Qatar where this poor kid, he had as Reddit put it, he had a terminal meltdown on commentary. Yeah, he got like he's like commentated like 1 or 2 locals maybe, and he gets on commentary at Qatar, and he has no idea what he's talking about. He doesn't know who the players are. He saw Tweak beat C3PO. He's like, this Bowser Jr. guy's pretty good. So like stuff like that. Like
he's all right.
Yeah, he very clearly was like green and like didn't know a lot of what was going on. And Twitch chat just started like laying into him, and then he started like firing back and started like dropping F
Oh
bombs.
no,
And I'm just like, oh no,
no.
DEFCON 5, DEFCON 5.
Dude,
Well,
that's a
and
mortal
that's-
sin for commentary, by the way.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
like
the
rule
thing.
one, just don't say fuck.
Yeah,
You can
that's
say fuck here though.
Yeah.
you got to look at that guy, right? Like if you were to compare him again, I'm going to keep coming back to comparing it to being, a player or competitor. If you look at that guy and you were to size him up and being like, all right, commentary wise, if he was a player, he's an 0-2 guy. You know what I mean? Like he goes 0-2. Someone, you know what I mean? So as a commentator, you can't be an 0-2 commentator and be getting slots of Qatar, because the crowd is going to eat you alive. Like you got to build yourself up and kind of figure out how to get there first instead of just jumping on and making rookie mistakes like that,
Yeah. No doubt, no doubt. And there's actually a lot of things that people kind of sleep on when it comes to commentary, when it comes to like techniques or things to work on. Like to kind of bring it back to, what I do for my job, like I do stuff in psychology. So we work a lot in like how we speak with people and like the way that we phrase questions and the intonation of our voice and stuff like that. So when it comes to working with commentators, a lot of other people forget to, phrase things in a certain way that would elicit a response or ask a question at the end of a statement so the other commentator knows how to chime in. Like there's a lot of little things, but they slowly add up. And something that really stuck out to me was what you said, Koopa, with the breathing, because another one of my hobbies is a musician, and like breathing is the first thing they teach you, and it's so important when it comes to like speaking and singing too, because it helps you give you more control of your voice, change your intonation so that people catch their ears to it more. Like there's a lot that people aren't doing that is still developing the commentary world. So no matter how good you are, there's still a lot that you can do. So like Haz and everyone else saying, being receptive to that feedback is big key.
Yeah, man. I mean, it is definitely a meta in itself, and it's really cool actually getting your guys' perspective on this stuff because like it actually makes it that much more clear to me even. And like I'm actually glad the local spotlight took the turn it did. Sorry to anyone who is watching, was looking forward to it. Nothing really interesting happened this week. Congrats to Leon for beating Gons, I think, or something.
Yeah.
At a Spectrum. So that was cool. Aside from that, I mean, business as usual. Vinny won an Aeon tournament with Jdawg coming in second, and GWJ won Bears. That's pretty much it. But how would you guys feel about some Q&A?
Boy, would I love some.
Let's
We
hit
got
it.
some great questions actually on Twitter, so I'm
Yeah. I'm actually shocked because like sometimes we ask questions and like somebody's just like, "Oh, would you kiss me?" And I'm like, "No."
Yeah, that's come up actually a couple times. We've had.
Heartbreak.
I think we've had a kiss question, a bench press question.
Someone asked us how we're doing, and that was really nice.
That was nice. That was like
I
actually
think
that was Delta, dude. That was very thoughtful.
yeah, for real.
But anyhow, Haz, I think I'm gonna let you take this one, man, because you kind of did the legwork and sort of putting these questions together, and it sounds like you got a lot. You're thinking on a few of them. So why don't you kick off the Q&A since we're looking at the same questions here?
Sure, yeah. So if you're following along in this chat, and by this chat I mean exactly in this this Discord server, question
all four of us.
question number 1 came to us from none other than Cable on Twitter. That's at Cable SWR. You guys all know him from Nairo Stream. Awesome Donkey Kong main from Brawl and Corn and Smash 4. So he's the man.
We out.
I love seeing Cable, dude. He's hilarious. He's a great dude, but he also sent us a great question. So his question was, what kind of gameplay videos should I watch to have an idea of how appropriate commentary should be? So I have an answer to this, and then I think we can kind of pass around if you guys are cool with that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Great. So I thought about this question a little bit, and I think a lot of it really depends on your setting. We've talked about this actually earlier in the show. We kind of hit on this a little bit, but I've done commentary, and I'm sure you guys have too, in so many different settings and so many different feelings and so many different places, and people are there and things are what's on the line. Like there's so much context to what's going on. So I've done commentary at like pretty much house party invitationals where someone just one of the older dudes in the community threw like basically a house party that was also an invitational for like the top 20 players in New England. So, you go from something like that where it's kind of encouraged to maybe have a beer or two while you're doing commentary and talk a little shit or bring up how this guy hasn't beaten this other guy in 4 months, so what's going to change now? You know, you kind of build a narrative in a very different way and have different tools to build narrative compared to something like a top 8, you know, esports stream. As, you know, Koopa was talking about earlier, you're talking to different audiences, and, you know, there's different things on the line, including bigger things on the line too, and different eyes and more people watching. So you need to, you know, be a little more appropriate than you would if you were kind of drinking and talking shit about people that you know pretty well. Thing too, like at a local, you know, these people on a pretty personal basis, you know what I mean? Like coming around in top 8, I think we can all say that we're, you know, at least friends, or, you know the people well enough to talk about them in a more casual way. When you go when you go to a major and you're doing, you know, commentary top 48 or pools or something, and number 2 in North Iowa steps up, you can't talk like he's been your best friend, you know, since 2008 because you've never heard of him before, you know. So you gotta, a lot of that too kind of comes down to being prepared. And in order to watch videos, so if I was going to watch a video, like, it really depends on the gig that I'm doing. If I'm doing some sort of, you know, fun little side tournament for an invitational, I probably want to try to be a little funnier, a little quick to the punch. So I might watch, you know, I don't know, some old Xanadu VODs and, you know, get a good back and forth going. Or a lot of it really revolves around talking to your stream runner and your co-caster too, and trying to see, hey man, you know, what type of vibe are we trying to put out here? What do you want to do? Do you want to lead or not? So I think a lot of it kind of relies on your own being prepared for what type of tournament it's going to be. And I think a lot of it comes down to having your commentary being versatile. So you want to watch a lot of different types of content, a lot of different weeklies, regionals, majors, see what makes these people, you know, be successful where they are, so that when it comes down to what you're going to do in different situations, you feel prepared and ready.
I think that's great advice, quite honestly, because every tournament offers something a little different from the next in terms of not just who's playing, but what's basically happening in the room, which is something we talked about earlier. So
you can go next, Jdawg.
Yep.
I'm still thinking.
Yeah, like has covered pretty much everything. Like that was such a good answer. But one of the big things that I could really only add to that, like I can't really cover too much new ground, but just reading the room. Like whenever I step into like a new venue, you know, I like to just kind of canvas it a bit, walk around, talk to people, see like how the vibe of the room is, because you can kind of get an idea after, you know, talking to enough people, seeing the brackets, seeing who's in it, and just kind of being familiar with the scene and like recognizing which matches need to be highlighted and which matches, you know, you can kind of clown around a bit more too, because it's important to build that rapport with the Twitch chat and your co-commentator as well. Like, just kind of ease into it and see what's there. But in terms of gameplay videos, I'm not sure like if this is talking about like, you know, tech videos or like things to know or like commentary sets or like stuff like that. But I mean, it doesn't really change my answer too much. Like, just as much as you can, seeing as much diverse backgrounds you can get in your commentary and game knowledge. It'll never like do you wrong. Just know as much as you can.
Yeah. Basically, I could make it easy and just say what you guys said, but I do want to obviously add on a little bit to what I can. First of all, the weirdest venue I think I've ever commented in is a bowling alley. That's what we're talking about. Yeah, that was fun. MHG has but we've held tournaments in a bunch of weird places, like
yes.
fucking like tattoo parlors and all this. Like,
there's been a karate dojo.
Karate dojo, arcade. Like
we've done some strange things.
Arcade, man. I'd love to do it in an arcade. The energy in an arcade is so amazing.
It was one of the best tournaments. It was just so cramped.
I'm sure. Yep. That's, sounds about right.
So just like kind of like add on to what, you know, Jdawg and Haz said. Reading the room is very important. That's also something that I like to do, because there's been multiple times where I've like showed up to locals that are just ran by, you know, a couple of dudes in an anime shop, and you know, they actually get like super intimidated by like when I
have a question. What is an anime shop?
Sit down, Haz. Have a
I'm sitting, man. I'm laying down now.
It was a comic book shop, and then there's this girl named Hatsune Miku, and she's just everywhere. And then there's this stuff called manga, or manga if you're cultured like I am. But yeah, so like, there's been times where like I've just walked into a venue and people are very like they're intimidated because they're like 9 times out of 10 are just like, man, like my commentary setup is shit, and we have such a high level commentator here. But yeah, it's basically just about just if you watch anybody that does like top 8 at a tournament, those are the people that you need to watch. Like I always tell people to watch guys like I think Coney's a great everyman for commentary because he's just such a chameleon. He fits in perfectly with like what is this video playing in the background? I'm so distracted. Is this the fucking Domino's commercial?
Dude, it's the Domino's commercial with Hatsune Miku. I don't know. It was the first thing I thought about. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that, but just Google it, and it's hysterical.
I quit.
Confused.
I'm sorry. I'm
Is
sorry,
this an anime
guys.
shop? I don't understand.
Yes.
This is anime. Welcome to anime.
Yeah, worst episode of Muppet Babies I've ever seen. But like it's like I think Cody's a great everyman for commentary because he just fits so many roles well. Like he's great as an analyst, he's great as a funny guy. He's really good at going two ways, and that kind of plays on to what Haz said, is that you don't want to be too stagnant. Don't like watch videos of don't watch videos of TK and then every time Diddy Kong does back throw you start saying yeet, or like don't say destruction every time someone gets a spike, or like don't break the cardinal sins of Twitch chat where you're just like there was one clip of commentary I watched where somebody said destruction, clip that, and GR Smash are you watching all within succession of each other. I almost fell out of my fucking chair. It was bad. So just like avoid the cliches where you can. And anybody that's done top 8 at a tournament that matters is someone you should be paying attention to, is my answer. So
sorry, I'm still looking at this Hatsune Miku. This is the strangest thing I've ever seen.
all right.
But yeah,
imagine being the dude who pitched that. By the way,
yo, it was a thing. There was this one guy had a whole investigation on it. There's a whole YouTube investigation about like what that project was, because it was a phone app for ordering pizza featuring Hatsune Miku. But like then all of a sudden like the project was just canceled, so he like traveled to Japan to try and figure out what happened.
That rabbit hole is deep.
It's deep,
Wow.
but we can go ahead and move on from it though.
Yeah, I know what I'm doing.
So if you if you want to jump to the next
Sure.
great question, now's a good time.
Sure. This one's sent to us by my boy Broza, and on Twitter he's at BrozaFGC. He has a really good question. Actually, it actually was kind of a painful question for me because it's not something I like to think about, but definitely something you need to do as a commentator. But he asked, what set, given hindsight, would you have approached differently? I don't know if any of you
That's a
guys
tough one.
want to jump in first because I took the first one.
Okay. I have a good answer for this. So the easy way out would be any of like the early sets that I commentated when I was commentating with someone that mattered. Like the first time I commentated with Gunblade, I go back and watch those VODs. And I'm just like, oh God, what the hell is the matter with me? I don't know, man. I'm a masochist at heart, I guess. But like, I'm like any of the early like important tournament sets that I commentated, I would love to get back. But at the same time, those were building block moments, so it's a little weird. The first time I commentated with Pierce, I've never been more exhausted in my entire life, but I still did it. So I would love if I could go back in time and commentate with Pierce for the first time again. I feel like I'd stand a much better chance. That's basically my answer. Like any of like I'm trying to think the first major tournament, like non-local tournament I commentated at was like Genesis 3 back in 2016. So like if I could go back and like change like retake any set, it would probably be like some of my earlier stuff.
That's understandable.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but like I guess to that, I guess it's just like for anyone watching not familiar with commentary, if you've played and like all I can think about is anyone who's played James on the Master Hand stream at like a local just getting wrecked within like 2 minutes. Like it's just a building experience, man. Like it's the only way to get to a point like where you can like actually become competitive is like by basically trial by fire. But
right.
Yeah.
I can jump in unless Jdawg you want to jump in.
I got one, but you can go ahead first.
Cool. So similarly to Koopa, you'll hear some stuff, but it wasn't for me. It wasn't a set. This is a tough question, but it wasn't a set, but it was all like if I could go back with all my current knowledge and like improvements and like all the stuff I went through to make myself better as a commentator, I would love to redo Too Hot to Handle top 8. Um that was my first big out of region tournament I ever did, and I did top 8, and it was in this really cool like arena setting with like our voices went out to the crowd, and like I had just seriously hadn't done anything above like a regional level, and I was actually originally slotted to do like I think top 16 or something, but one of the top 8 commentators fell through and they'd asked if I wanted to step up and do it, and instead of saying no, I'm way too nervous, I can't handle that, I had to pretend and be like, yeah, that's cool, like no big deal. So it was the first and only time I ever commentated with D1. So I was super, super nervous. And at this point, I had gained so much confidence. Like, I'm sick at the weekly level. I'm sick at the regional level. I'm ready. I'm ready for this next big step. And the second I got on that mic, you can just like feel the pressure. And I know you can't like see, the Twitch numbers or anything, but you can feel all of the eyes and all of the ears just listening to you and seeing everything that you do. And man, that level of pressure was just something I thought I was so ready for, but when I actually sat down and was at the desk and looking at the camera and they said you're live, ooh, I felt it like on my chest like so hard, dude.
Wow. Yeah.
So yeah, I just like fell back into a lot of nervous habits I thought I'd kick, but a lot of what Koopa said, like I talked too fast, like I said too much. I like D1, he's like like one of the biggest commentators we have, and I was cutting him off. I was like, oh my, I rewatched it. I was so embarrassed to rewatch it. I did like fine, all things considered, but like, man, I just wish I could have gone back and had a little more discipline. But like Koopa said, and like what Chris said, I don't know if I would change that though for real, because I learned so much from that set. I learned so much about my commentary and how to conduct myself in that type of environment, and like how to improve myself and how to get better from there. And I knew I wanted to get better, and I knew I wanted to improve myself, and I really felt that from those sets, that next time I was in a situation like that, if that ever happens again, I would want to do better.
Yeah, I didn't want to give you war flashbacks by putting the VOD on screen, but like you look good. You look like business as usual.
Well, I think honestly, I'm pretty hard on myself too, and I got a few words of wisdom from like a bunch of different people who I got some back and forth. There was definitely some positive. Like it wasn't all like, wow, I didn't like fall out of my chair or like accidentally swear or something. Like, I was good. I was like, but not my best, But I couldn't be at my best. I wasn't ready to be at my best at a venue or of a gig that size. I wasn't ready. Like just flat out, I wasn't ready for something like that.
I could definitely understand and relate to that, even from a stream end. But
Yeah.
wait, Jdawg, did you get a piece of this one yet or not yet?
Not yet, because like this one was actually really hard for me. I was thinking like, what was my least favorite set? Like, what set did I just absolutely like shit the bed on? And I had to reach like deep into like my amygdala. Like, what set gives me that gut reaction? Oh God, why did I do this? And this is a weird one. Glitch 2 Customs Tournament. DC versus some Sonic. I can't remember if it was Craftist or True Blue.
Oh,
or something
I
like
know
that.
where we're going here.
Yeah, like if you just go to YouTube, search Smash 4 and sort by longest, it's probably like up there. Because I was caught completely flat-footed that entire time. Like I was expecting a very serious like tournament because customs were still in vogue at the time, and then I had DC grabbing the ledge versus like a Sonic dropping springs on him.
It's
over
DC
and over.
versus True Blue. It looks like.
Yeah. Oh God, I just sort my long. Yeah. And like it was kind of that awkward in between where it's like I know that I can't take this too seriously, but also I want to take it a little seriously. So I was kind of like cracking half-baked jokes a good amount of the time, and I don't think anyone holds that against me, but it's one of like my nightmare moments in commentary. Like, oh God, I don't want, like, if I have to be put through that again, I'll do better, but also like don't do that to me again. But again, I'm happy it happened. You know,
dude,
it was another step.
Custom villager against custom.
I was
stock.
just gonna say that this is a customs match too.
Dude, this is
This
is
Oh
commentary.
man, I'm sorry,
You should want to redo that set again, but force them to get off the customs or change it to one stock or something, man.
Ugh.
I feel like it's not really on you at that point, you know.
No, but like there's definitely a lot of things I didn't do right there. Like it was not my proudest moment.
This is actually a really good transition to a couple of the other questions, where we were talking about things in Ultimate, and we're seeing like this really early meta happening of Smash 4 that like we just have not seen for what's been years now. So like, what were the questions that were basically based around that concept?
Cool. Yeah, we had two different people on Twitter ask us about the upcoming Smash Ultimate. What changes are we going to be making to our commentary and stuff. We had one from my man Drex. He's at Corn Drex on Twitter. He said, "How are you preparing for the changes that Ultimate will bring to your commentary?" And along a similar path, we had Tombstone, who's at SAK_Tombstone on Twitter. He said, "What changes to Smash commentary do you expect going into Ultimate?" And to me, these are two very similar questions. So I don't know if you guys.
Let's let Jdawg go first.
Yeah. Well, first I got to shout out both these guys. They're both my. And also, I got to shout out real quick Stu, the announcer. He's in the Twitch chat.
Dude, Stu's the man. Yeah.
Stu's great.
Yeah.
That's
He tweeted
my
us a
dude.
question too. But
it's a good one. We'll get to that later.
yeah. Okay. But to answer the question we're at hand now, the first couple months of commentary, I'm not gonna lie, are gonna be really off. Because none of us are really gonna know the game. Like we've had a lot of time to really, get used to the flow of Smash 4, but from Ultimate, from everything I've seen, it seems like a faster game, and like there's going to be a lot of calls and confirms and misinformation because there's 70 characters. Knockback is weird, so we never know when anyone's dead, and like there's going to be a lot of uncertainty. And I think during that time, we're going to see a lot of commentators really be tested in how well they handle just like those awkward moments, because they're going to happen. So yeah, getting ready for like how to basically just fill dead air and like fill uncertainty. And also another big change that we're probably going to see is that what was it? Like this, I just lost my train of thought entirely mid-sentence. It's been a long day. All right, there's like 70 freaking characters. So like
Yep. It's a lot of metagame to become familiar with.
Yeah. There's that, and also we're all going to be comparing characters to the previous iteration of the game for at least the first 5 or 6 months. So there's going to be like a lot of backtracking on information. There's going to be a lot of misinformation to backtrack on, and there's going to be a lot of changes where the like vets that we have now, I think most of us will be fine. But it's going to be, my heart goes out to any commentator who's trying to start out Ultimate, because you guys are going to have it rough. And if you make it through there, you're going to be something great, but it's not going to be easy.
No. And just to echo that, like it's weird because we're all on the same playing field now, like going into it, because it's a little weirder, like for me at least, going into a Smash game being a veteran and not like somebody that's being green, like like that's how I was when Smash 4 started. But yeah, like commentary is going to be the Wild West for at least until some semblance of a meta game like establishes itself. Like power to anybody that's going to a day one release tournament, because y'all are gonna know jack shit.
See you there. Yeah, let's get it, boys.
Yeah, like it's gonna be. Yeah, it's like literally gonna be the Wild West. Like I feel like for me personally, I'm just gonna kind of fall back on like at least for the first like month or whatever. I'm gonna fall back on if this character functions this, or like in Smash 4 this matchup went like that or whatever. Like that's gonna kind of be unfortunately gonna be like the norm for at least like the first few weeks. What is making things a little bit easier though is that there's so much content about the game coming out because of all the demo events that it's easy-ish to get a head start, at least in terms of like the basic functionality of how things work. Like, if you get hit by Richter's dive kick, you go here and you can follow up with this. Or like, I'm not saying like, if I hit them with the dive kick and then I hit them with the bullet bill, it's a combo. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's more content available, and like it makes it just slightly easier to like just kind of get your bearings and like which characters moves or what.
Yeah.
But at least for the first like couple of months, I'm gonna have to rely on like some past game knowledge, at least to like carry the conversation.
Yeah, you actually hit on a really interesting point there where I think the beginning of the game is inherently more interesting than when a meta is defined and when we know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? So like if I live, Ultimate comes out and it's been out for a month, so we're in early January, and I've been playing, I've been grinding. There's like 70 characters in this game, so I haven't really seen, I don't know, who's like an obscure like let's say we don't really have an Ivysaur, specialist in New England. And
I've seen zero footage of Wii Fit Trainer. Just saying.
Well, that's not. It's a terrible example because that character is not going to be hype in the least bit. You know what I mean? Like
John Numbers out there screaming.
I'm sorry, he's not a hype character. You can like the character, it's just not hype. Like anyway, so let's say from New England, like we don't have this won't happen, but like an Incineroar. You know what I mean? Like so, I don't really see Incineroar a lot unless I watch. I've watched some weeklies and I kind of get the gist of the character, but I've never like. Say there's this hidden boss Incineroar, from Texas that shows up and starts doing all these combos that I've never seen before. My natural reaction to that, like honed through being, like you said, I'm not as green as I was a couple of years ago, honed through like a decent eye for commentary and a decent voice to like express excitement, is going to be very, very exciting to watch in the first few months. Like before, it's like, yep, there goes Incineroar, he down tilted into side B and then tech chase into an up smash. You know what I mean? Like we'll know that stuff in like a couple months after that. But for the beginning parts of the game, it'll be genuinely exciting and surprising, which goes away after a while. So I think that was an interesting point. Like you said, Koopa, like Richter's dive kick sends that at this angle. I'm like, man, if I don't know that, though, it's going to look really cool if it closes out a set,
Yeah.
I actually forgot that was a character until you said, like...
he's on my top 3, dude. I can't wait to play that character. I'm so
Everybody
excited.
play Rondo of Blood. That game's fucking amazing.
That's great. It's on the 3DS shop, but
yeah.
kind of just... Again, going off of what you guys said, like coming around into Ultimate, really, really gotta become a player first is how I feel. Like you gotta be a player first. That way you have an eye for the game. You know what players are looked for, why they're making decisions, and you can anticipate what's coming next and build a narrative off of that. So if you don't play this game, you just expect to be a Smash 4 commentator and be like, you know what? I'm such a good Smash 4 commentator, I could be like Koopa at a Rivals of 8th Year tournament and just show up and like do such a good job. It doesn't matter. It's not the way it's going to work. Like it's going to be ultra competitive. You're going to have to ingrain yourself into the community and into the game. And I think that's why like a lot of commentators, even if they don't have like an amazing voice or way to build a narrative, they're so interesting to listen to. Like DeBuzz is a really, really good commentator, despite like, I don't know, he might not come off as that way, like because when you think of great commentators, you think of entertainers or story builders like EE and TK and D1 and Coney. But DeBuzz, he's kind of more laid back, like he's a Smash nerd, and I love that about him. But it doesn't make for great commentary, with the exception of the fact that he knows so much about the game. Like it just carries him so hard, and he does a good job, also saying it. Like he doesn't, trip over his own tongue all the time, and he's well spoken, so that helps too. But saying like, knowing the game just helps so much, and that way you'll know what to say for commentary. So I think just learning the basics, playing the game, and having fun with it really will shine through, not just in your gameplay but in your commentary too.
Yeah, man, it's going to be interesting to see what happens all around. There's going to be so much unknown entities, and I don't really. I'm gonna say I don't want to talk about it, but I'm about to bring it up. Like even things like rule sets starting off, like no one's really gonna have like a reference point where to even really begin talking about it. Like even like Jdawg, I'm sure like maybe indirectly you've gotten questions about this just because people know you from Xanadu and VG Bootcamp obviously just like released their plans for the rule sets. Like so we've been seeing that stuff come out. So like that's like a whole different angle. So like even just dealing with like just the back and forth energies of just how people feel about the early meta is its own thing to navigate, let alone just being comfortable commentating a set.
Yeah, and a little soapbox moment. I'll only say this. Listen, guys, stop yelling about the rule set. None of us know what's happening. We're all trying to figure this out together, all right? Like, people are actually quite, like, it's good discussion to have, but people are kind of getting in their feelings over, oh, why isn't this stage legal, or why is hazards off only? Like, there's certain logistics that just kind of help the tournaments run like more smoothly. Hazards off means that people don't have to navigate menus and accidentally like change a damage setting or something like that. Like there's a rule set that has the most amount of stage diversity with the least amount of things that could possibly be fucked up by human error, but it's going to take time to find. Like, just give it time before people get mad.
I think that's actually really good advice. Just some time and patience, and it all gets figured out. But
The problem is we don't really have patience. We don't have time. We got Genesis coming up. We got
so
Frostbite
right.
coming. Like Genesis, like we don't have people. People are gonna make decisions. You know what I mean? And
No, you're very right. That's
it
very
is what it
true.
is.
Yeah.
But I do agree. Like we don't need to set one in stone. We just need to have a good enough like. It's kind of like finishing the school project the night before it's due. Like it just kind of has to get done and has to stay afloat right there. Yeah, I'm saying, man.
C's get degrees.
Same. But
Fountain of Dreams did nothing wrong. Fuck you guys.
I love Fountain of Dreams. I love Fountain of Dreams.
Yeah, I miss her.
Same. Real quick before we move on to Stu's fantastic question, someone did ask a question in the chat. Zeminan, I actually don't know how to pronounce her name, but we follow each other on Twitter. You're a cool guy.
Zeminan.
But yeah, Zeminan. He asked, how do you guys handle downtime between matches on stream when commentating? This is much harder than I think people understand. Like it's like Haz said, like you can put anybody, a guy like the Buzz, in front of a microphone, and he can frame data you till you fall asleep at night. And like some people arrive for that, but like what is really hard is being entertaining. And like I have two specific examples to this, I was commentating Cruise at Genesis with EE, and we didn't know how long we were going to be on board for. We thought we were only doing one crew battle, and then they told us they didn't kick us off yet, so we just both started checking our phones for like 10 minutes before the next wave of the crew battle started. So don't do that, is my first advice. That was bad. But basically it's just have conversation with your co-caster. Like this is where it's like your conversations and your social skills need to shine. Because like if you need to be able to have a conversation with somebody that's sitting there, because like we've said all night, you guys, we are the middleman for the people at home. And if they see me slumping down in my seat with my thumb up my ass, like hey, we're gonna get the channel taken down. First of all, I don't think anyone needs. and second of all, like it's gonna if I'm not taking it seriously, they're not gonna take it seriously. And I think that's just don't. It's having a conversation with somebody.
That's a good point. And this is where you make friends. So it's like, think of it more as a natural thing where you're just kind of talking to someone about something you love or like, whatever your relationship with Smash Bros is, and just kind of
me and Coney went on a tangent about how we both hate Subway, and it was that was like some of the best. Like it was so fucking funny.
Honestly, I think that's really like. So I think one of the marks of a really good commentator is being able to improvise and entertain on the fly. Really, I think that's like an example of, if you think of, again, I think like some of the top 5 best commentators we have in Smash 4 right now, that's like some of the stuff they're strongest at. Like some of TK and EE's biggest clips don't even happen during a match. They happen in between the match. I'd say actually most of their big Twitch clips happen in between matches. So I think that just really shows, like you said, Koopa, a really good natural sense of conversation and just being. It's kind of, you got to build up to this level too. Like at one point, you got to remember EE and TK used to get nervous before stuff too, but they're beyond seasoned. They're literally professionals at this point, going up there. And the butterflies that you might feel during top 8 of your regional or top 48 at a major, that's something that they used to feel at majors years ago, and now they're just so used to it and they're so comfortable being on a camera, they don't even think about it. Like it's a part of who they are, and to reach that level of naturalism in your commentary is something I really aspire to have.
Yeah, man, they're definitely very professional, like top of their crafts. They are a lot of fun to watch. And that's like in my mind as someone who's managing a channel, with MHG, and I think about like the content that I'm producing. Like seeing really high level commentary in action and seeing what that really does bring out is, there's reasons why like VG Bootcamp gets, subs and donations and stuff like that, because like that's what's worthwhile to essentially like to making content, is having that engagement. So it's like it does turn into something very much bigger than what it looks like on the surface level. But anyhow, I do think that we did have before we jump to Stu's great question. I think
there was, sorry, I just kind of zoned out for a quick second. But there was what was the last question asked? Downtime, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Go for it.
one of the things that I really found that was helpful in doing that was because I talked a little bit about this before, but building that rapport with the stream, with the chat, and feeling comfortable like talking on the mic yourself. And then after that, it's kind of what Haz was saying, just having conversation with the person next to you. It's kind of talking. It could be about literally anything, but it's one of those things where it's counterintuitive. If you start to think about it too much, then it starts to get forced. Then it starts to sound unnatural, and people pick up on that, even if it's through a microphone. So just kind of staying calm. Very few people are judged negatively by how they fill dead air, because I feel like most people, especially in chat, well, not especially, but like surprisingly in chat, are kind of understanding that, hey, there's nothing going on. There's not much to talk about. These guys are just doing what they can. But I will say it is where stars are made. But it's kind of like what you all are saying too. So, try it, do what you can, and if it doesn't work out, very few people will blame you. But yeah, just kind of act natural. Play it cool, boys.
Yo, do you guys remember when we were talking about Tim Allen in the beginning of the episode, like an hour and 40 minutes ago, and
Yeah, I
Wilson?
see, yeah.
Okay. I just thought that was fun
Pretty good.
for a second. But I think speaking of being engaging and good commentary, there was a question from Gunblade. I don't think we touched yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, we
That's my
skipped
guy.
it a little bit. So we're gonna go back. Obviously, yeah. Shout out to Gunblade, one of the realest guys out there. As Koopa said, one of his mentors in Gunblade. He's given me a couple of his trademark talks and really gave me some really solid advice. So I think
You're my boy, Blue.
yeah, he's the man. He really is. Like Gunblade, he's a great dude. So shout out to Gunblade. Hope he's doing well, man. So his question, he's on Twitter. He's at Gunblade SWR. His question was, I love this question.
It's a good question.
What inspirations do you guys have outside of Smash and other forms of entertainment commentary? So I can jump in first if you guys want.
Yeah,
go for it.
Go for it.
Cool. Great. So I broke it down into two main categories, and the first one is sports broadcasters. I grew up, in a house, with my dad was like, he played 3 sports, so I grew up playing 3 sports, so I was always watching sports or listening to them on the radio. So the one thing I really noticed about sports broadcasters, and some of my favorite ones that I have, looping it back to commentary and how I've been comparing being a competitor to being a good commentator, and knowing how being a good competitor can help you be a good commentator because you know what to look for, the mindset. You've been in this last hit situation that gets you in the top 8 or not, so you know how it feels. You match the player's intensity and think how they think. So a lot of my favorite commentators, Tony Romo is one of them recently, who really broke out as like an incredible sports caster because his insight is so good. Not only that, I love his insight, but he's also pretty casual about it. Like, he's super knowledgeable, but the way he speaks, it's not hard to digest what he's saying. He does such a good job of breaking down these really complex, plays in football in a very digestible way. And along those lines too, David Cohn, I love listening to his commentary as well. And David Ortiz, I hate to admit it, but he's so personable and he's so funny. Dude, I hate to admit it, but he's so good at what he does, man. Hated when he was blasting home runs against the Yankees, but man, he's a great commentator and a good all around person, and that really shines in his commentary too. And the second category, aside from sports broadcasters, was comedians. I listen to comedians a lot. I listen to the Bill Burr podcast like a ton. And I think the reason I think comedians are so good to listen to and to take in as a commentator and take leads from is because that's what their stand-up, and a lot of it is just storytelling. Like, it's not just like, hey, I heard this, not everyone's Mitch Hedberg and can't just like say one-liners all the time.
If only.
But even Mitch Hedberg, he would build narratives, and you got to build up to a punchline at some point. So a lot of comedians, like, they have either like really good story, like really good ways to build stories to lead to a final point, and or they have really good inflections and really unique things they do with their voice that make what they're saying more engaging and more fun to listen to. So I listed out Bill Burr. I love him. I think he's so funny to listen to. I love his voice. The way he goes on these rants, he kills it. Jerry Seinfeld too, who I've actually had my voice compared to him a couple different times. Like, the way
How do you feel about that?
Dude, I don't know. Like, at first, someone told me that, I got like knee jerk, like super mad about it, and then I was like, well, it could be worse. So I kind of leaned into it. At one point, I was streaming, and I had myself doing commentary and the bass line from Seinfeld going. Let's deal with back airs, like all that stuff. Stupid, but it works.
good.
So, but he is a very took it as a good and a bad. I'm like, all right, it's not exactly what I was going for, so that's kind of negative. But positive side, he definitely has a very unique voice that stands out a lot. So that's a positive. And then the last one is Mike Birbiglia. If you guys know him, he's like one of my favorite comedians, and he really does an amazing job fleshing out a narrative and building to this bigger point, which I think is super important in commentary.
You can go next, Jdawg. I'm still thinking.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a question that like I've been asked a lot, and thinking about it, my experience is kind of like the opposite of yours, has, because I played sports, but like I was forced to play sports, so like I wasn't like very invested in like a lot of different sports commentators and stuff like that. But esports is something that I've been watching like for most of my life, like since they used to upload sets on YouTube in 3 parts because you had a 10-minute limit. So like the earliest days of commentary, like I was watching a lot of that, and so my inspirations are kind of like varied, because I was super into League of Legends for a while. I love Overwatch right now. I watch Overwatch League every season. I was playing Street Fighter since like, I don't know, God, how long have I been playing that stupid game? Like,
wait. You play Third Strike?
Okay, so I didn't have a Dreamcast,
Oh, no.
and because I used to play Street Fighter 2 at the hockey rink. I'm showing my age here. At the local hockey rink, I would just like throw my quarters at that game for forever. And so they didn't have a Third Strike machine. I didn't have a Dreamcast until like it was harder to find that game.
All right.
Yeah.
Your $5 is safe for now.
Yeah, I'm old as hell. Yeah. But so like a lot of Street Fighter commentators really stuck with me. So James Chen was one of the first people on my list, because he's like one of the guys who really wrote the book on esports commentary, like back when it was called Justin TV instead of Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
He was out there talking about Street Fighter with Ultra David a lot, and his style of commentary where he just kind of knows a lot and like knows the history of the game. It's like Melee commentators if they stayed on topic. So like, yeah, he knows the stuff. And then when it comes to League, this one commentator, he actually doesn't even work with LCS anymore. I think he does more CSGO stuff now, but D-Man, because he has hype commentary out the roof. When he gets hyped, he can carry the room, and he can carry the pace of the match. And whatever he does, it matches the contour of what's happening on the screen like a glove. Dude's a genius. Monty and Doa, those 2 guys came from League, went to Overwatch, love them to death. It's like that dry intellectual commentary that doesn't sit well with some people, but like it scratches an itch. And then Homeway Waffles and Phil, can't say enough like how much they influenced my commentary.
My guys.
Yeah, they're amazing. And also shouts to Yipes, like the hype man of the century. I don't care
Yipes
like what game it is.
Yipes is great, man. Oh man. All right, so I'm gonna basically just rip off Haz for a second as I'm trying to fix my desk. One of my drawers just came swinging open and almost killed me. All right, so we're back now. Yeah, so I also like watch a lot of sports. This is something me and Haz actually talk about a lot of, but like I'm a big sports person. I watch a lot of sports growing up. Two of my like biggest inspirations, because I've been described as like I forget, it was somebody said it to me as like I'm one of the best commentators at being hype but also managing to like keep it at a level where it's acceptable. And that's kind of what I aspire to be, which is basically Gus Johnson, who is he's a college football announcer. And he's primarily known for his like super over the top reactions to like, the big play that happens. Like I watch compilations of his commentary for hours, and it's just like, it never fails to make me get hype. Another one that I'm big on is Kevin Harlan. He's the TNT announcer for the NBA. Used to be the Knicks announcer. He's one of my favorite commentators ever, because he's another one of those guys where like he's able to keep it composed, but when the big moment arrives, he never shies away from getting a word in edgewise. But yeah, it's based, and I do like the comedy approach also, because I don't watch as much stand up as I used to, but like I remember I watched like Chris Hardwick do like stand up, and he's someone that like I'm a really big fan of, or like just like other TV personalities, just like learning how to present myself as I slump in this chair. Shout out to this clip,
dude. This is one of my favorite clips ever on this channel. By the way,
yeah, but, yeah, but like
TriCast came through.
Yeah, that was awesome. Fun fact: this is actually one of the first time in my recorded history where you had a TriCast from 3 commentators from all 3 parts of Tristate.
Well, dude, especially like we're talking about influences, and not to cut your sentiment short, but like Stu comes from wrestling, like
yeah, that's true.
And like
I do watch a fair bit of wrestling too. Like that's a big one.
Yeah, because I mean I almost feel like that's connected, but that's a story for a different episode. Like wrestling's relationship to Smash and sort of possible similarities, but in either case,
I figured that's what Gunblade was looking for.
I think so.
Yeah, for sure.
FGC Jim Ross is my favorite Twitter account. That's a great Twitter account.
Yeah, man.
Speaking of Stu, he did ask a very important question.
Oh, he sure did. Let me find that right now.
We're talking about flavors of commentary.
Yes, sir.
That's a great transition. Look at that. We're just like
we're
like the Harlem Globetrotters in transition right now.
Dude, yeah, we're flowing right now because Stu wants to know which dipping sauce would be the best to be dropped into a vat full of dunk tank style. Conversely, what would be the worst?
All right. I've been thinking about this.
All right, go ahead.
No, okay. So I've been thinking about this way much harder than I should have. So my favorite dipping sauce of all time is the Blackened Ranch from Popeyes. So if I could fall in a dunk tank full of that would be my favorite.
What's the kryptonite? What's the kryptonite sauce?
Oh, that's hard. I'm trying to think of like a really bad fast food sauce I've had.
Dude.
Okay, no, I got one. All right, I got 2. So any form of buffalo sauce would probably kill me.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Buffalo,
like hot sauce is the answer, dude.
Yeah, I got hot sauce on my eye one time. I thought I was gonna die.
Wow.
Dude,
yeah.
it wouldn't just be getting in your eye. Is all I gotta say. So
I will say.
No.
Yikes.
Yep. It's over, bro. It's over. GG.
I think one of my least favorite or like most disappointing dipping sauces I ever had was when McDonald's re-released the Szechuan sauce. That was mediocre at best. So, but either that or hot sauce.
Damn, dude. Yeah, hot sauce would be a bad one, I'd imagine. Just dunk me in a tank full of Chick-fil-A Polynesian sauce. It's delicious.
Good one.
Good choice.
As far as the anti-sauce, that's a toughie.
Dude, it's hot sauce, dude.
I think that's the unanimous answer because like that's
so bad.
It gives like there's like a physical repercussion.
Yes,
like...
exactly. It's so gross, dude. I might say I'm such a good eater. I'll eat 99% of things on this planet that are like commonly eaten, but I don't like ketchup. Like I don't know what it is.
Really?
I know it's weird. It's weird, dude. It's
Fascinating.
weird. Like I won't put ketchup on anything it's not already on. Like at McDonald's, if I go to McDonald's and they're like, "Oh, you get a cheeseburger," I won't be like, "Don't put ketchup on it." And I won't scrape it off. Like it's fine. But if I get a plate of fries, and you try to put ketchup on those fries, that's like war. You know what I mean? Like that's not okay with me. So I would say probably hot sauce, as the worst. But I would say probably the best. Say some blue cheese, man. Blue cheese is delicious.
Love blue cheese.
I feel like that's a controversial one. I feel like there's a lot of people that would be like, "Ew, gross, man, blue cheese," because there's like the chunks in it and stuff. I like blue cheese personally. I'm speaking out for those who maybe don't like the blue cheese.
I don't like it, but I respect that opinion.
Same. That's exactly how I feel about it.
Yeah. But as for my the best sauce to be probably dunked in, and this is kind of a controversial take, but Burger King's barbecue sauce. I don't know what it is, but sometimes that sauce be hit.
Sounds good.
Yeah. No, I definitely know what you mean.
Dude, they have the onion ring sauce at Burger King too. That is delicious.
Oh, the zesty sauce?
Oh my god, dude, that's so good.
I never had that.
Dude, you gotta try it.
It's bad good.
It's very, very good.
All right. But I never go to Burger King anymore. For some reason, just their burger quality dropped, but their fries are still bad.
Yeah, so. I haven't really frequented fast food, but I do remember the sauces, and that is a good one.
Yeah. But as for the worst sauce, I don't know, because it's funny. Everyone was assuming that they would survive this sauce dunk. My mind instantly went to, I'm drowning, completely lost. How do I want to go? And I think Burger King's like barbecue sauce,
It's great.
I'll die for that sauce. But the worst one, I don't know. Probably just straight mustard. Straight mustard.
Oh, I
probably.
love mustard. See, that's probably second on my list of things I wouldn't mind at all.
I'd
I'd be
need
like,
pretzels.
this is all right.
I'd need pretzels close in proximity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if it's like honey mustard, I can live with it. But just like straight yellow mustard, I think I'd probably die.
The smell would kill me alone.
Give me
Yeah,
give me like swimmies.
I'd be swimming. Yeah, I'd be feeling good.
Give me
mustard.
swimmies made of pretzels.
is
What-
relish a sauce? Because I don't want to mind dying in relish.
Yeah.
We're getting dunked in relish.
I'll give it
That's
to you.
that a
That's a
sauce?
sauce.
'Cause it's chunky. Is that like a chutney? I don't know how this works.
I wish he said which chutney would you want to? Be much better.
Dude, this has actually been a pretty fantastic cast. This has been a lot of fun. We went over
man.
time, and I don't even care. Like I
yeah,
could
this
probably
is officially the longest podcast.
yeah.
we've
I
ever
don't,
done,
like
and
I
love
could
it.
yeah I could talk to you guys all night. This has actually been a really good episode,
Yeah,
in
it's
my
been a
opinion.
blast.
Yeah. So, yep. I just echo the same sentiments. This is. There's a lot of meat to get into this episode. Like I could talk about commentary
Well, it's-
and dunk tank dipping sauces for weeks.
Dude, there's so much more. I feel like I could have asked both of you guys for any number of things, but I guess that means we'll just have to have you back on again at some point.
I'm totally down. Yeah, just let me know.
That's
Anytime,
awesome.
man.
But yeah, I don't want a cold end like that because it always feels bad. So if you guys have any last remarks though before we do call it a night.
All right, I got an idea. We're gonna do a fun exercise. So we're before we sign off, everybody give your one piece of advice for somebody that want to be get into commentary.
I thought you
So,
said this would be fun.
Yeah, what?
Put
a spin on
tell
that.
us what's your favorite?
What's the one
sorry,
thing
if
you
you're
could do?
What's your favorite
Okay.
dipping sauce to eat while commentating?
okay, fun. Okay,
Favorite
don't
chutney.
don't ask me this because there's a photo of me on the internet eating soup while I was on commentary one time. So this is not a question that I'm qualified to answer. Dude, it was lentil soup. It was gonna get cold. I had to eat it. I'm sorry. I don't make the rules.
The
But
soup was soft.
yeah. All right.
Sorry, it's late.
It is.
Anyway,
My advice on what not to do: don't curse and don't not wear deodorant. That shit sucks. One advice for you guys, my one like good piece of advice is that everybody's gonna like you and it's okay. So
That's
That's
good
actually
advice.
super. That's actually,
Yeah.
It's funny too because I feel like that's like really common advice, but I think it's very common for a reason because, yeah, we kind of have this whole theme going where you build yourself up, starting at the local level and then pushing yourself further. And at your local level, you might have a ton of buddies and like they all say you're really good at commentary. Then you start, getting to bigger stages, and eventually, man, even the best commentators you've known have heard some mean shit about their craft. So
oh, it's
just the
terrible.
way it
Yeah.
goes, man. Just the way it
Yeah,
is.
it's like you brought it up earlier, where it's just like commentary is a lot like stand up. It's very subjective.
Yeah.
Like you're not gonna like the same movies as your friends. You're not gonna like the same music as your girlfriend. Like everybody has a different taste, and just because you're not gonna be able to please everybody. And the second that you learn to stop doing that is when you can officially start like living as a commentator, because you're just never gonna be able to appeal to everybody, and that's okay. Just keep doing you, baby.
yeah, and they kind of piggyback off that. It's weird because like I asked myself this question earlier, and now I forgot what I was going to say. But I will piggyback off that because it's such good advice. You like when it comes to commentary, if you try and imitate someone, it's not going to end well.
Yeah.
Like at your best, you can be a budget version of that person. Thing about commentary, you have to explore. You have to go out, scrape your knees, make some mistakes, and find your own style that works for you. Because if it's not something unique to you, then you're just not going to make it. And some people, they don't want to, they don't want the world, but I think it's important to find your own craft in commentary. So just go out, make mistakes, whatever Miss Frizzle said, and yeah, have a good time.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if I had to do one bit of advice is kind of, to kind of jump off what you guys are saying here is that people could tell when you're trying to be something that you're not, and when you're being not completely authentic to who you are as a person. And I don't mean that so commentary is also a skill on top of like being like personality stuff. So you need to be able to hone that skill at the same time as like staying true to yourself. So I don't know. I mean, I feel like some people's personalities aren't great for commentary, but if that's true, like if your personality isn't amazing for commentary, you can make up for it in other ways. Like I said, study a lot about the game, be really insightful. There's a lot of different ways to make any type of personality work on commentary. So just think that because you're not the funniest person that's ever existed doesn't mean you can't be successful as a commentator. So just play to your strengths. There's no reason to be like, hey, I'm a really good, analytical commentator. Let me try to learn how to tell jokes for 4 years, and it like never really works out. People could tell, man. Like you can tell, like when you watch locals and you're like, this guy, he's trying to be, he's trying to be EE, like he's trying to be too funny, like he's trying too much, like, and that's like maybe the worst thing you do in commentary. It's not.
If I hear Mewtwo King angle one more time, I'm gonna fucking kill myself. Like, stop.
Yeah, that one's played out.
Like I'm a doc kid. Leave your doc terminology. There's your doc kid terminology behind. I want to hear this shit. You don't even know who Korean. If your favorite Melee player is Korean DJ, you're a faker.
Oh, hold on a second.
What if you're just old?
He's New England, dude.
All right, that was a bad example because I have someone from New England and someone that's old.
Damn, dude, you got called out.
Nuke the VOD.
I mean, I don't have any advice because I'm not a commentator, but these guys' advice sounds very good. And from someone who does a lot of other stuff for the scene, it's just like, just go out and do the things that you enjoy. And if commentary is one of them, then go for it. And it always helps to get on with a buddy that you're comfortable with. But just understand, if you do wish to get better, you're going to have to expand beyond that. But it's not a bad place to start, because a lot of it is just having a regular conversation and kind of thinking out loud to some degree. So with all of that, it was really awesome having you guys. So we'll definitely be looking to have you on again at some point.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, no, like it's funny that you said that, Chris, because like it's important to work with people that you like. I've had the pleasure of working with both of these guys, and they're two of my favorite partners that I've had. Like, Haz is okay sometimes, but that Jdawg guy, he nice.
Yeah.
It's a blast working with you, Koopa. I don't think I've ever worked with you, Haz.
Nah, man. I'll make my way to a Xanadu for Ultimate for sure, though.
Yo,
yeah,
Glitch?
Your region first.
Oh, Glitch. I want to go to Glitch. Yeah. Anytime. Well, we have
Overclock this weekend. So might as well plug it now. Yeah.
I wanted to plug a couple things. If
sure.
you don't mind.
No, please do.
I got my Twitter, which is at HazMatt Rules. I've got my Twitch at HazMatt Live, and then Twitter. I'd like everyone to follow is at NE, like New England, Smash Events. And that is a live Twitter that's run by some of our community leaders. And it says it has all the upcoming events in New England. So it does a really good job of promoting our in-region stuff. It's super smart.
Awesome.
And it's been really good, especially coming around to Ultimate. You don't want to miss anything. So coming into events that you want to look out for, you got Overclocked this weekend. That's on twitch.tv/thebalancepatch. And I think actually House of 3K is running it this weekend. So actually it'll be on twitch.tv/House of 3000. And I love those guys. I love that.
Sir.
It's one of my favorite streams out there, to be honest with you. So those guys I feel like don't get enough credit. So I want to shout them out a lot. And
we're big fans of House here.
I'll be there.
They do it right, man. Yeah, I won't.
Yeah, you suck.
I'll be around. Just not playing Smash,
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be commentating in some capacity, probably drinking some of that sick nitro coffee that they have at the balance patch. But you got anything, Jdawg? I know you're a pretty busy person.
Yeah, where do I even start? So there's, first off, Xanadu's doing a lot coming up in Ultimate because we have launched. It's an event on December 8th. It's like kind of a tournament, but also we're all gonna get together and play Smash. So it's like, come on, we're probably gonna run a bracket, and it's gonna be a good time. On December 7th, the guys at JTS, who also work at Xanadu, are doing a small invitational called Handpicked. It's a really cool idea where they have the original 12 characters, and they've been doing like a voting process to have someone represent each character. And so they're going to have
That's cool.
they're going to have a tournament with that. And also they're going to have a crew battle where everyone who got second place in that poll has to beat the people who got first place. They're called the Fighting Polygon Team. So it's a cool.
Oh, that's awesome. I like that.
Yeah, it's going to be sick. So that's December 7th. December 8th is launch. And then Glitch 6. When the hell is Glitch 6? That one is Come on, Google, work a little bit faster. January 19th and 20th, MLK weekend at Xanadu. And
I'm trying to
I saw,
go.
yeah, I took a peek at the entrance list. It's not a tournament you want to miss. That's all I can say. That's all I can say.
Let's make moves too. We gotta plug. Let's make moves.
Yeah,
speaking of
dude.
tournaments I
Oh,
wanna miss.
snap.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, it's gonna be a
That's
good
happening
one.
the week after, actually.
We're actually MHG will be white labeling for either Nairo or EMG and House vice versa. So you will get technically the Tristate streams involved, but
Nice.
but in a little bit of a different look. But yeah, that's gonna be a great tournament, man. There's a ton of people signed up already. It's pretty nuts.
Yeah, glitch and that are big times. Aside from like Genesis, obviously, like the two I'm really looking for, like really want to make an appearance at. So
Well, I know Let's Make Moves already has like a ton of people confirmed. I'm trying to find that right now. Yeah, I mean Dabuzz, Nairo, Swedish Delight, that's cool. Pink Fresh, Sinji.
it's cool that the melee people are involved in the early times.
I think that's great, quite honestly.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
sure
I
you
come
really
to
Smash
that
4,
too,
man.
but,
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, Anti's gonna be there. Mars, it's your boy. It's your boy Matt. So I would assume that means that we'll see Light there.
Yes, Light.
Yep.
Light was actually listed above Mars. Light because he's one in New England. Light, Mars, and Kool-Aid. I saw Pug actually commented on it too, so hopefully he can make it as well.
Yeah, this is gonna be.
Has you want to say over?
Yes, I do. That would be amazing. Thank you.
Go.
Can we watch Muppet Babies?
Yes.
Damn, dude, this is gonna be a banger. There's 198 people signed up already. That's
Alrighty,
nuts.
Yo,
Wow.
Max has been doing a great job promoting that
Yeah,
tournament.
dude. Shout out
He's
to
awesome.
Max.
Yeah,
He's been
for
doing
real.
Hell yeah, dude.
great work. But all right, guys.
Nobody cares about me. You know what I'm doing. I'm going to Overclock this weekend, and I might be going to Scarlet Classic. We'll see.
You gotta go to Scarlet Classic.
Yeah, or I mean, Fireside, whatever it is.
Or, yeah,
it's an
yeah.
event at Rutgers.
You're right. Yes, you got to go to Fireside. Is what I meant to say.
In regards to Ultimate stuff, the weekend of the game coming out, there's two things happening. There's an MHG unlocking party, which is exactly what it sounds like it's going to be.
Pretty casual. It'll be a fun time though.
Yeah, it'll be a bunch of sitting around talking about the game, telling some war stories. That Sunday though is Smashadelphia Ultimate, which is being put on by Chia over at Smash or Clash Tournaments. With RJ is going to be involved. I know Stu is going to be there if he's still in the chat.
Yes,
I will be there release weekend, so I was selected as one of the commentators for that. So, yeah, there's just so much between January and February because I already booked a flight to Genesis. Like even if I don't get picked for commentary, I'm still gonna it's a vacation for me. So between December and February, I'm gonna be broke and very tired. So you guys can look forward to that.
But it will be fun.
Hopefully.
I hope so too. But
Oakland's a scary place, man. The city's not friendly.
But hey, man, if anyone listening is interested in these events, I try to list as many of them as I can in the MHG server. You could find the link to that below this cast, or if you're watching this on YouTube or anywhere else, the link probably shouldn't be too far.
We should probably put them in the YouTube VOD description.
Yeah,
also.
actually, yeah, that's a good idea. So I'll be sure to do that. But yeah, so there's going to be plenty to do time come Ultimate, and then I know there's a lot going on with the regular schedule, working with RJ and some of the other guys in Tri-State trying to make a little bit of a cohesive schedule. So there's a lot to look forward to. And we're gonna start off with a blast in December with all those events you guys mentioned. There's just a lot of good stuff going on. So and I think the goal is to basically expand the accessible audience and get everyone involved. So to me, it's sort of the more the merrier, as long as it sort of works out in a way where things aren't being run too closely together. I think more events is better, personally. Lots of people looking to play.
Yeah, it's gonna be nuts.
But all right, well, I guess that caps it. Thanks.
2 hours on or more
Yeah,
than 2
dude,
hours.
we're a little over. We're a little over than 2, but you know what? Traditional podcasts sometimes go way more than that. I watch like the Scuffed podcast on Twitch sometimes. That shit's like 4 or 5 hours with like people in and out of it. So there's no set
Nice.
format, and we're gonna get stronger moving forward in terms of format. But today was just a lot of fun, so I was just kind of soaking that up a little bit.
Not bad for
Yeah.
the first podcast with the new logo, by the way, which we didn't bring up all the podcast.
Yeah, that's right. There is a new logo, so that's cool. But
So
yeah, thanks for watching. If you enjoy, please share it. Or if you think someone might find some value out of this, even some up and coming commentaries, please share it. And and we'd really appreciate that. Other than that, I think I don't know if House is still going on. I'm gonna try and host them anyways.
Probably not.
Probably
you can
not.
host Nairo.
Oh yeah, we could host.
Nairo's
Nairo.
live right now if you want to host them. So let's do that.
Alrighty. Well, thanks everyone for watching, and we'll catch you next week. I think there's going to be some conversation about essentially not growing up in the Smash scene, but essentially like the difference of being on the older end versus being on the younger end is something we were talking about for next week, so you could look forward to that. But in the meanwhile, thanks for joining us. Have a nice night, and we'll see you next week.
And we'll be seeing you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.